Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Yachts here, and I have a Wow Wednesday. Hang on just a sec. I forgot to get the classic card. I have to have it ready next to me. And yeah, we're doing a Wow Wednesday for the Toronto Tempo, centered around their team today, because yesterday was a big day in the history of the Toronto Tempo. You see my awesome sweatshirt? Look at that. Isn't that cool? Yeah. And well, we've seen the new jerseys. And well, today we're going to react to them and talk about them here on the channel. So hopefully you guys are here and you've seen them. And well, let's hear what you guys have to say. I've seen some early returns on opinions on the Toronto Tempo's jerseys. They have two jerseys. That's what they're going to wear this year, a home and a road jersey. And yeah, they look, I mean, I don't know. I'm just excited to see the jerseys in some ways because I know they're going to play. And in some ways, the jerseys initially are just the first jerseys. There is going to be new jerseys over time that they have specialty jerseys, and that jersey will change obviously over time to keep it fresh. But this is the established baseline for the jersey. And yeah, it was an interesting drop to show the jerseys yesterday. You know, they spent a couple days kind of hyping up an unveiling at the Eaton Center at 1 p.m. Yesterday. But then they came out in the morning and went on breakfast television and revealed the jersey at like 6 in the morning. I don't know. There's been a lot of weird stuff with Tempo and how they release things. There's been a leak with the name originally. The merchandise drop was crazy. They've had a couple issues with release dates and releasing information about the team in weird ways. And maybe they didn't optimize the possibilities of what they did well. Let's just put it that way. And I think yesterday kind of is a symbol of that again, where it's like, man, you guys could have really built that moment up and really made it something at the mall where you just drop the thing and boom, there it is. But you guys revealed it on a TV show in the morning. And I don't know if it was because breakfast television called Teresa up and said, hey, come on down. We know you're going to make your new jerseys public today. Come on in. She should have hyped it up. She should have came in there with no jerseys and said, yeah, we're going to do it today. And I'd like everybody to tune in, and we're going to do it at 1 p.m. at the Eaton Center. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how they could have handled it in a different way. But in some ways, it didn't seem like they optimized the possibilities of how to release the jersey. I don't know. That's just my opinion. It doesn't mean that it's right, and it doesn't mean that anything they did was wrong. It's just that maybe they could have handled it a little bit better. I don't know. The Tempo are figuring it out. In some ways, they're just like the Raptors. They had a lot of people that were doing jobs that weren't totally savvy at the jobs, and they were learning on the job. And well, there was a lot of mistakes in Raptors' early days. In some ways, similar to this, not exactly this stuff, but yeah, I'm just happy that we have jerseys. We can see what they are, and we can start to visualize the players in the jerseys as the season starts. So let's kind of look at them real quick. I've got the Toronto Tempo's Blue Skies account up, and there's quite a few pictures of the jersey up there. They did a really interesting. I like the way that they were leading into this. They had a young woman wearing a jersey that was covered up and had a lot of Canadian imagery flashing all over it. And then they had the date, December 16th, 2025, jersey drop. Now, some people in the Raptor Freak family have been very vocal about how they feel about the jersey already, and not all of it's very positive. Now, the color of the Pioneer jersey, I think it's what are the two jersey called? There's two different kinds of jerseys. There's an Explorer jersey, which is the road jersey, I'm going to guess, because the name is Explorer. And that is the one that is Bordeaux. Now, Bordeaux, if you guys don't know, is a color wine, basically. You know, it's a cheeky way of kind of using the color wine because it's been called Claret. It's Bordeaux. It's a couple different things on the Pantone scale. And, well, it's basically wine color. The jersey color for the Tempo is wine. It's very close to burgundy. In some ways, some people called it burgundy. Burgundy's not that far off from it, but if you're really technically a color enthusiast, you know that claret or Bordeaux is different than burgundy. And I bet wine enthusiasts, wine tasters, those people that spit it out, yeah, they know exactly what the difference is between Bordeaux and Burgundy. So yeah, that's their primary color. This is that color around the lettering here. And well, I was surprised that like that jersey, it seems that it's a Bordeaux jersey with a white trim. And I'm wondering, like a lot of people were, Fiercey in particular, where's the hydrogen blue? Because one of the cool things about the color scheme of the tempo is it's novel. I don't think I've ever seen Bordeaux and hydrogen blue as being the primary colors for a team ever. And I'm just wondering, because I know white is a good accent color, and the other color for the tempo is black. So they're like white and black, and then Bordeaux and hydrogen blue. There's going to be an evolution with the jersey where maybe the original jersey this year with the Bordeaux main color with the trim white will turn into a Bordeaux main color with the trim turning hydrogen blue. So, because the hydrogen blue, or maybe it is on that jersey, but in the finer details, you can't see it from away because the hydrogen blue is so light. And in some of the print media or digital media, the color doesn't come off in the image. Because even in some of the images yesterday that were dropped of the jersey looked way more brown than purple in some of the images that were dropped. So it's like they really got to nail that Bordeaux color and really make it, this is our team's color, because I'm seeing some pictures come out and it looks way more brown. It doesn't look exactly right. And, you know, I guess that happened with the Raptors too, with their purple when they first started, where the purple wasn't totally a set purple color. They had a kind of a purple variance throughout the early years of the Raptors. And then even when they did the redo, when they came back in the 20th season and did the old jerseys, that purple dinosaur jersey that Kyle Lowry wore in 2015 was not the same purple jersey that Damon Stoudemire wore in 1995. It was a different Pantone shade. So yeah, I'm curious because, like, look, in some ways, it's really important to get the picture right because I don't think the pictures were giving justice to the jerseys. Like the jerseys were kind of like the colors muddled in some of these images, and maybe partly it's because y'all are using the same color as a backdrop in some of these pictures. Maybe you needed a contrast so that we could see the jerseys. But if you put the Bordeaux in the backdrop behind it with the jersey, it's not going to pop, is basically what I'm saying. So I don't mean to be a critic, but I do have an autistic mind. And in some ways, I look and think about all these kind of little details. Who knows? Maybe, Teresa, you need to hire me so I can think through some stuff for you guys. But yeah, the white jersey is the home jersey, I'm guessing. And maybe there is some blue on there. It's tough to see. There's a little bit of blue lettering above the tag on the bottom. And this jersey, I'm going to guess, because it's the way it used to be, was the white jersey is the home jersey, and the jersey with color is the road jersey. So I don't know. I don't know how they'll do it. It may very well be that they're wearing either jersey on either place. You know, that jersey is not designated just solely for this or this, you know. But yeah, the white jersey is very simple and just the Bordeaux lettering of the tempo and the number. And then, you know, one of the biggest criticisms we heard yesterday from Raptor freaks was the prominence of the CIBC logo in comparison to the Tempo or Toronto name on the jerseys. This is true. Like some of us were like, whoa, is this the CIBC Tempo and not the Toronto Tempo? Because that logo for CIBC underneath the number is huge. It's huge. And somebody even in the chat, it was Kareem Thomas, said, is this a bank card jersey? Like these jerseys remind me of bank cards. Like this is the CIBC Toronto Tempo or something like that. I get it. Advertising is important, but I don't think I've ever seen such a prominent jersey advertisement where it kind of looks like it's part of the whole thing. Some of us were relenting and kind of like, why isn't the logo on there? Like, why wouldn't they put the logo more prominently on the front of the jersey? I'm sure at some point they will. I'm sure that at some point over the years with this WNBA team, there's going to be a logo jersey that comes out. Some of us, I guess, we're looking forward to seeing the Toronto Tempo's bars coming off the tee that symbolize their pillars of value. And also, she was also saying on Breakfast Television that the lines actually reflect some of the boroughs of Toronto. So there's a lot of different like inner meaning to some of the decisions the Toronto Tempo are making with their jerseys and their early origin story, which I like. We need that kind of stuff. We need that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think this one, I'm looking at this one picture with this young woman wearing sunglasses and she's posing and she's got hoop earrings and she's wearing the Explorer jersey. And you can see on the side of it, you can see the bars, the iconic bars. They're not iconic yet, but they will be, of the Toronto Tempos franchise on the side paneling of the jersey. So we got them shooting down on the side, and that's kind of cool. I like that. That kind of looks nice. Of course, the ultimate test for these jerseys is going to be seeing them on the players on the court with what the court looks like and just the whole scene of it. Much like the city edition jerseys for the Raptors and different jerseys that Raptors have, you don't really know what they look like or how they pop until you actually see them in action, in kinetics on the court, on players running up and down the court with the backdrop of the arena and everything that's in there. We've seen some really interesting combinations with the Raptors in city edition, city courts and different things like that. So there's a lot of possibilities here. But yeah, overall, I'm going to be very kind to it because I love the jerseys, because I like them, because it's just because they exist, because I'm ready for this team to play. I'm excited for Toronto Tempo. I'm going to be just as passionate for them as I am for the Raptors because I love basketball. And in some ways, I just want to see Toronto teams in basketball. That was the meeting of the Venn diagram that got me as the Raptors freak in 1994, 93, when I heard that Toronto was awarded NBA franchise. It was over then. They didn't even name the team yet. I was like, nah, my favorite sport in the world is the NBA. And my favorite city in the world is where I'm from, Toronto. And as soon as that combination came up, just like peanut butter and chocolate, Reese's peanut butter cups, I was in, because I was like, yeah, that's just the winning formula. And that doesn't change with the WNBA. In fact, I'm excited about watching a lot more WNBA because of the Toronto Tempo and getting fully immersed in women's basketball. So I'm excited about this in so many ways. This is exciting. And in some ways, after going through the process with the Raptors 30 years ago and watching how they built their franchise and seeing where it got to this point, I'm excited to see the whole process over again with the WNBA team, the Tempo. Because in some ways, I can watch this whole stuff happen now with a more informed insight and perspective, having gone through it already with the Raptors. And yeah, I remember all of it. I was 20 when the Raptors started, and I've been a full adult the whole entire time the Raptors have existed. So I have a very good memory of all this. There's a lot of younger fans that were not born before the Raptors started, and there's a lot of fans that were very young children when the Raptors started, and they don't really know the Raptors history from an adult perspective like I do, because I was 20 years old in 1995. And I was watching it already in that kind of way, not as a kid. So yeah, you guys, let me know what you guys think about the new Toronto Tempo jerseys, and be nice, be fair. And you know what? If you have things you like about them, let me know. If you have things that you don't like about them, go ahead. Let's put it in there. And maybe I'll put in a poll and see what you guys are saying. All right, let's check in with you guys real quick. We got Trevor J first with his words of wisdom. You don't get stronger by doing what you can. You get stronger by what you thought you couldn't do. Process begins with when comfort ends. With comfort ends. Yeah, that's a little awkward. No, I agree. People put under stress or put under duress or put in situations where it's not exactly ideal will get people to go beyond where they've been to do what they need to do. And that may be survival, that may be financial, that may be just life always throws curveballs, and there's always going to be the one constant is change. That's what they always say, right? So, you can forecast and kind of look ahead and say, "Oh, this might happen or this might happen." Be ready for it, but sometimes things just come unexpected, and that's where you can have real growth in your in different ways because you're put out of your comfort zone. So yeah, I get this, Trevor J. Thank you for the words of wisdom, Trevor J. Blessings to the Jones family and all the Raptor Freak families. That's right. The NYC is winning the NBA Cup last night, and our guy OG was the leading scorer. In some ways, I'm pissed because he should have been the MVP. I know they gave it to Jalen Brunson, and he's like the figurehead for that franchise. He's the golden boy. He's the designated franchise face of the Knicks. But I could make a strong case that Anunoby should have been the MVP for this tournament because he was the best scorer in the last game. He really was the key guy that helped the Knicks win last night against the Spurs. And he was also a key guy against us when we played them last week. And he got the hard hat and the boots on that game. So I'm like, what's going on here? OG's the leading scorer, but you're gonna give it to Jalen Brunson? I call foul on that. Of course, as a guy who's loves his Raptors, and we got a Raptor draft pick and a Raptor champion doing amazing things on a big stage like that. I don't agree with Jalen Brunson being the MVP. The MVP should have been OG, and he got the big interview after the game. And OG, you're awesome, man. It's like kind of weird to see him talk about Nick stuff and kind of be like OG being OG and just kind of like doing interviews and stuff. But he's a badass. You gotta love OG. And good job in what you did last night, I guess, in the cup. I was rooting for the Spurs, but the Knicks won it. And in some ways, this is a big deal to Knicks Nation. They have not won an NBA championship in 50 years. Well, now they're NBA Cup champions. And in some ways, well, will that do? Because I don't think y'all will win the NBA championship. But yeah, you guys can be cup champions this year. Go ahead. But yeah, I feel bad for Victor. Apparently, his grandmother died yesterday, and he had a really emotional day around that day. Now, one of the things I will say is Victor's plus minus was awful last night. And I don't mean to pile on him when he's feeling bad, but the hype about Victor is really kind of not coming through the way that it should have. The way they talked about him for like a year before he got drafted. This guy is not changing the league like everybody thinks he is. Sure, he's changing the league because he's really super tall, and some people have to think about a little further away, doing things away from him. But in some ways, he's not that impact player in the history of the NBA, like a Shaq, like a LeBron, like a Michael Jordan, that kind of level. And it's kind of weird because he's a few years in, and in some ways, maybe it's just because he's so skinny and he needs to flesh out or become more veteran or become, a little bit more. I don't know. I don't know. In some ways, he's so unique and so different. I don't know how he gets to a level where he has more weight on him, and what does he become then? I don't know. In some ways, Wemby's not working. Let's just put it that way. The Spurs have done better without him in the lineup this year at times, and I don't understand it. You got guy's 7'5". He has guard skills, and in some ways, he's not a winning player in the NBA, guys. He's not. And that's weird to me because you'd think it's just a slam dunk, his height and the possibilities and stuff. But maybe this is what it could be. Victor Wembanyama could be the early edition, like the first version of somebody who else is coming, who's going to be even more talented and better than him. He's like the first version, just like an iPhone or something like that. He's iPhone this. Well, maybe there's another person coming along in the near future that's going to be a 7-foot pluser that's even more impactful than him. And it's not Chet Holmgren, guys. It's not Chet Holmgren. It's not Chet Holmgren. That's what I would say right there. But yeah, congratulations to Knicks. I'm wondering if we'll see Milbester today. We might. We might. Trevor Jace brought up that the 905 did win their game yesterday, and they went perfect through the Showcase Cup season, a perfect 14-0. And that is a huge accomplishment. I love it so much. The game was fun. The Raptors 905 took care of business at the school day game in Westchester, New York yesterday. They blew out the other team. It wasn't really that fair. We had 13 guys in jerseys, and they had 8. and two of them were on minutes restrictions due to coming back from injury, and one of them fouled out. So we really kind of ran them off the court. They had nobody to keep up with us, and Andrew Jones was relentless. In some ways, he was very mean to Desaga Diop, and he played all of his players. He went all the way down to the end of the bench. And in fact, let's do the stars of the game real quick for this 9:05 game yesterday. Great job. They're going to go to the Showcase Cup, and we're going to find out who they're going to play soon. In fact, I might be able to tell y'all on the stream very soon. My number one star of the game yesterday is Elijah Martin. Elijah Martin had a fantastic game yesterday. 25 minutes, 22 points. Great minutes per points, Elijah. 6 of 11 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3, 4 of 5 at the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 1 steal, a plus 16. Yeah, Elijah was the leader, and he led early. He started off really well and making a lot of baskets for them, getting them on the right foot. Yeah, because New York, in some ways, the Westchester Knicks they're not full strength, and they're 1-12. Well, now 1-13 in the Showcase Cup, and well, it's kind of a big deal because listen to this: the Westchester Knicks won the last 2 Showcase Cups, guys. They won the last 2 years. This tournament, the Raptors 905 are about to be involved. And well, now the Knicks are NBA Cup champions. So, if the Raptors 905 can win the Showcase Cup, could the Toronto Raptors win the NBA Cup the next year? Maybe that's the pattern that's shown by the Knicks franchise in the last couple years, right there. My second star of the game for last night is Chucky. The two-way backcourt rookies were fantastic 1-2 punch. Chucky, 25 minutes, 14 points, 5 of 8 shooting, 3 of 5 from 3. Yeah, he's dialed in late. And that's the other thing I love about what I'm seeing from Chucky and Elijah, both of them, is in late game situations, they're going to get baskets and keep their team up. And even if the score was kind of close in the third, a little bit, they separated in the fourth quarter. It was very similar to the Heat game where they kept real big separation. I mean, they were dominating them the whole game on the down low, but the Knicks were trying to keep close, but then they just separated and routed them in the last quarter. It was really bad. Chucky Hepburn made his free throw, 1 rebound, 8 assists with 1 turnover with 3 steals, a plus 25, the best plus minus on the team yesterday. So good job, Chucky. My third star of the game is the other two-way. All 3 two-ways getting the top 3 stars. AJ Lawson returned from an absence in the last few games and didn't miss a beat. 27 minutes for AJ, 16 points on 6 of 14 shooting, 2 of 6 from 3, made 1 of 2 at the free throw line, 5 rebounds with 2 turnovers and 4 steals, a plus 20. Yeah, these guys were just spamming steal, and the Knicks were just getting turnovers like crazy. And they're just running fast break points back. That's AJ Lawson basketball right there. And the Badman is very proud of the accomplishment of the Raptors 905. Perfect season in the Showcase Cup season, 14-0, no losses. They won every single game in this part of the season. Olivier Sarr is my 4th star of the game. And he was actually really good last night. The thing that I liked about Olivier yesterday was that he was a very prominent defensive player. He had some very, very nasty blocks, and he was doing a good job as a defender. Very, very much doing a fantastic job down low. But also, he hit some threes. 24 minutes, 12 points, 5 of 9 shooting, 2 of 5 at the 3. He missed both his free throws. 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 1 steal, and 3 blocks. And those blocks were impressive, Olivier. Listen, you can miss all these shots near the basket, but you're a really good defender. There may be a path for you to the NBA. You really got to get better at defense. If you get better at defense, maybe you can be in the league. A plus 21 also. So yeah, Olivier Sarr, I dump on you a lot this year, but man, you had a great defensive effort last night. I recognize it. The guy who got the chain yesterday, though, was Julian Reese off the bench. He's my 4th star of the game. Juju Reese got the chain from Andrew Jones for this game. I guess it's just because he was just really solid in a couple ways. He had 6 offensive rebounds, and that's the key stat right there. So he was a real force, real load. In some ways, you're not pushing around young Reese. 21 minutes with 10 points, 3 of 5 from the field, 3 of 4 at the free throw line, 8 rebounds, which 6 were offensive, 2 assists with 1 turnover, 1 steal, and 2 blocks, a +3 for Julian Reese, who's the chain guy for yesterday. He got the chain. I'm going to go further, guys. I'm going to do actually 2 more stars because this was that kind of game. So we have 7 stars of the game for this one. I'm going to give a star to Tyson Degenhart off the bench. Once again, Tyson, very solid, +21 in 18 minutes with 7 points, 3 of 5 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. So, yeah, Tyson's just a solid sure shot. In some ways, he's that kind of player in the role like Grady is on the Raptors right now, where you're supposed to hit some open threes, be scrappy, get after loose balls, get in there and try and rebound. If you can drive and attack the rim, you go ahead. You know, that's kind of what Degenhart's doing. There's a lot that he's doing that Grady is supposed to be doing on the Raptors level. So I recognize you. And then my final star of the game is I'm going to give it to the walk-on, man, because he came out there and got some points. Jaden Bediako is from Toronto. He grew up here, and he went to the 905 tryout this fall, just in the last couple months, and he made the team as a big center. And well, because Andrew Jones wanted to run the Westchester Knicks off the court, he went all the way to the bottom of his bench and played Hogarth and Bediako. And Bediako finally got some points. So in 3 minutes, Jaden Bediako got 2 points on 1 of 1 shooting. He got 2 rebounds also. So salute to you, Jaden Bediako of the Raptors 905. You are made professional points in the G League. And good job, man. You walked on. And look at that. There you go. There's your stars of the game. I've got honorable mentions too that I could give out real quick. First, David Roddy started 22 minutes, 8 points, 3 of 7 shooting, missed both his threes, made his free throw, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 turnover, 3 steals, and a block for David Roddy, also a +18. Quincy Guerrier, 21 minutes, 11 points, 3 of 10 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3, 2.2, 2 for 2 at the free throw line. 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 turnover, a +3. AJ Hogarth got extended run, not just end of the bench garbage time. He started in the first half and got to play different periods of time. 13 minutes for AJ Hogarth, 5 points, 2 of 6 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 0 turnovers, 1 steal, 1 block. Yeah, that's pretty good. Tyreek Key, 7 points in 16 minutes, 3 of 7 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3, 1 rebound, 1 turnover, 1 steal. Jarkel Joyner, 16 minutes, 12 points, 3 of 8, 3 of 4 at the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 turnover, 1 steal, a +3. Patrick McCaw got into the game yesterday too and played for 8 minutes. He didn't take a single shot. He got a steal and a block, and he was a +15. So, yeah, great job. It was a school day game. The kids were trying to be loud, trying to help out the Westchester Knicks, but alas, they didn't even have one guy score over 20 points, and that's how bad things were for them. So 27-point rout of the Westchester Knicks by the 905 yesterday to finish off the showcase tip-off tournament season part 14-0. Yeah, they actually shot worse than the Knicks, but they had more opportunities. They made way more threes, 14 threes for the 905, only 8 for the Knicks. The free throw line, we got to the line a lot more than them. We were way more aggressive, got 10 more free throw attempts. They did out-rebound us, which is interesting. Our assist-to-turnover ratio was 25-13, so about 2-1. And theirs was 17 assists to 28 turnovers. That's the opposite way. So they were like a minus assist-to-turnover ratio. Yeah, 17 steals for the Raptors 905 yesterday as a team. That's amazing right there. That's amazing. Yeah, so yeah, good job, 905. You're perfect. And we're proud of you guys. There's your stars of the game for the Raptors 905 yesterday. And well, you know what? I should go and look and see if they've released the schedule for the tip-off tournament now and see what they're saying for as far as when the Raptors 905 will play again, because I'm not totally sure and I need to find out. All right, let's see. We're going to – okay, it looks like the Raptors 905 are going to be playing on Friday at 3:30 p.m. against the San Diego Clippers. So they're going to play San Diego Clippers in the first round of this tournament then. And they don't have another game yet. It has to be determined after that. So I guess if they win, they go forward. So 3:30 Friday afternoon. San Diego Clippers, Raptors 905 in the tip-off tournament of the G League. So yeah, that's your next game. Friday, 3:30 p.m. So we'll have some double duty. No, wait, there's no Raptors game Friday. There's Saturday and Sunday this weekend. So yeah, Raptors 905, 3:30 on Friday, San Diego Clippers. Seymour saying this: Josh Hart violated Brunson. Laugh out loud. Go Tempo, go. There you go. Sheriff Seymour Pate back in the chat. Good to see you, City Slicker. Hope you're doing good. That sweater looks proper, Lex. Yeah, thank you, Adriana, for getting me a Toronto Tempo sweater. I gotta represent, right? I gotta represent, and I'm gonna have to get more Tempo swag as time goes on. That's right. Leonardo Payne saying Tempo lineup, please, if available. Uh, there's no players yet, man. There's no players. We got to do an expansion draft this month. It's really right at the beginning of everything. So there'll be the WNBA draft, and there will be the expansion draft all coming up in the near future for the Tempo, and that's how we'll get our players. So we do not have any players in our jerseys yet. We just have jerseys. We got a coach. We got a general manager. We got a logo. We've got a team name. We've got team colors, but we don't have any players yet. So we're going to have to see what happens with this. And they've even in interviews talked about this. Monica Wright Rogers, Teresa Resch, different teams have utilized expansion drafts and getting picks in different ways. Some of them you do them just straight up and say, yeah, we want this player and we're coming in. But if you look at how Isaiah Thomas and the Raptors did it for us in our expansion draft, they drafted BJ Armstrong first. And he knew he wasn't going to get BJ Armstrong to come and play in Toronto, but he knew he could flip him and trade him for valuable players like Victor Alexander, Carlos Rogers, and Clifford Rozier. And well, that may be a strategy that the Tempo take is like they may expansion draft somebody that may not be on the team, but that to flip them. So we'll have to see what the strategy is with them. They may just straight up draft people. Now there's news out about the WNBA right now. It's been revealed by The Athletic what the players want in this labor negotiation that's going on right now. And they really aren't close to the side with the owners. They're very much not near each other. What we found out is this is basically in the WNBA, the players have been making like 10% of the profits. In the NBA, for reference, the players get 50%. The owners get 50% of the revenue, and the players get 50% of the revenue. This is part of the reason why NBA salaries are astronomical, because the NBA generates a ton of revenue. And even just the TV deals that people like Amazon and Peacock just sign with them are astronomical in the billions. So we got to remember this when we're talking about pay for players in the NBA and the WNBA is that once again, the NBA players may seem like they're overpaid, but they're getting exactly half of the revenue and the owners are getting the other half. So the WNBA players have been making 10% of the revenue in the WNBA. And this is what I would tell people that say, oh, they don't make any money anyway. That's absolute horse crap because the WNBA has new TV deals that are billion-dollar deals. And these owners are making a ton of money off the women in the WNBA, and they are not getting fairly compensated. So I'm totally with the women and the players against the owners and the league, and they need to get their cut. They're not even asking for anything too crazy. They want 30%. They want 30%. They want to jump up from 10% to 30%. And the owners are saying no. They actually want to just give them 20%. So this is what we're talking about. They're not even asking for half of it. They just want 30%, a third of it. And the owners are that greedy, guys. That's just the truth right there. That's the truth. Now, there's little nitpicking things about, services and perks and things like that that are in it. And plus, they also want to have language in the negotiations that as revenue rises, their pay won't just stay where it is. It needs to go up with the revenue. So there's a real hashing out going on in the labor negotiations with the WNBA right now. And it's crazy. They should be getting paid 50% like the NBA players. But the owners are so greedy, they don't even want to go up to 30. Isn't that crazy? When I was reading all this, I was like, man, the owners are wrong. They are wrong. Pay these women what they should be paid. You know what I'm saying? They're being very fair. I think they're only asking for 30%, and you guys won't even do that. So there's a lot of different things. There's some arguments about how when the schedule should be, how long it should be, how many games should be played. They also want money for different services like mental health services and different kind of allowances. So hopefully they can figure this all out. The labor agreement will run out again on January the 8th. So if they don't make, they have like a just a stopgap agreement that just kind of gets them through the next parts, but it'll run out again on January the 8th. So they got to figure this all out. This is not ideal for expansion teams coming in. Let's just put it that way. The terrain is unsettled, and it's kind of like the rules for the WNBA for Teresa Resch and everybody at the Tempo aren't totally clear because the whole landscape of the whole WNBA isn't exactly clear. So it's kind of tough there. It's kind of tough, man. Let's see. Seymour saying this: Colorado Avalanche have similar colors to the Tempo. I guess you're right. I guess you're right. It is kind of like a wine and a blue with the Avalanche, but I don't think they lean as heavy into. I think that it's more reddish though. I think the Avalanche is more like maroon, maybe a little bit more like the wall behind me. It's a little bit more reddish, and the tempo are a little bit more purplish. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Yeah, Neil's here. He's coming in with the logo today. Look at Neil with the logo. That's old school. Seymour saying tempo hat with a UMass Marcus Camby jersey can work. There you go. There you go. Seymour's already figuring out his style. We know around Christmas, it's all about the style and getting new clothes. And maybe Seymour's figuring out the next look for 2026. Yeah, you got to be ready for this tempo team. They're coming in quick. The WNBA is coming fast into Toronto in the market. That's right. Let's go. Shaq Lindsay's here saying, looks like it's official. A trade is in the works to get Goga or Gafford. Those are still rumors. These are still rumors. Nothing's been signed. I think it's too early for anything to go exactly right now. They really have to show up in Orlando, wheel and deal for a little bit. And this winter showcase, the G League showcase that's going to be going on this weekend. And that's where a lot of talking will be happening, a lot of looking at players. In some ways, we need to watch out with 905 because some of our guys are going to get put on blast down there in this weekend, and they could get scooped up and going places. In some ways, that's what we want. That's what Andrew Jones said the other day in an interview. Somebody asked him, are you worried about if your team does too well that other NBA teams are going to come and sign your players away and put them on their teams? And this is what Andrew said without flinching. That is what we want to do. That's what we want to do. That's what we want for these guys. These guys are working hard and they're doing things to try and make the NBA. So why would we hold them back? So if we're doing really well and we're 14-0 and people are going to come watch us, well, good for them. Go on, get your careers going. So in some ways, it's really good that the Raptors 905 are 14-0. But in G League, sometimes success can be taken away from you just because people will come and take your good players. And it could be that our team looks a little different in regular season because somebody's on a two-way all of a sudden playing for an NBA team. But that's the ultimate goal, isn't it? And that's why Andrew Jones is like, I'm not going to get away with that. I'm not going to do anything manipulative and underhanded to these guys. They're working hard and they're putting it all on the court for me. I want them to be successful. So, yeah, this showcase is, in some ways, it's not like the showcase is for the big mega deals. Like people talking about Anthony Davis, this, John Morant, that, Trae Young. No, this is about like looking at the G League level and some of those guys and seeing how they could bolster their roster maybe on a subtle way. But, our deal, once again, and Josh Lundberg has very much said this publicly in the broadcast this week, the Raptors aren't trying to make a big level deal with a max money guy like Anthony Davis. They're trying to get a bolster to the end of the bench in depth for their center position. They said it as clear as day. So if you're looking at it, there's the level of Anthony Davis, there's the level of Daniel Gafford, there's the level of Day'Ron Sharpe, and then there's even levels below that. And who knows? It could be that the level is at Day'Ron Sharpe. The level could be at Daniel Gafford. It's not as likely. I really think the level of player we're trying to go get is around Day'Ron Sharpe. And it's somebody that's maybe around $5 million a year at the most. And Daniel Gafford, I think he's making $10 million or $12 million. And that's a bigger chunk of the salary, and that's a lot more moving another way for something. But if Bobby sees it and he sees a deal that works for either Goga or Daniel, he'll go do it, right? He'll go do it. It's interesting that Goga's name has come up more recently in some of the trade rumors for the Raptors. Because honestly, he's a badass person to tag team with Sandro. Those guys are both from Georgia. They're very close friends. And if we got Goga Bitase, but I better have to say his name right if he's going to be a Raptor. We would have a Georgian tag team, Georgian Road Warriors, Animal and Hawk, Goga and Sandro. Yeah, Goga's more a traditional big man than Sandro is. So, and they have, like I said, they have a lot of shorthand experience already playing together for a long, long time on the Georgian national team. So he's a smart guy to get if we can. I just thought that he wouldn't be possible because the Magic are in contention and he's kind of an important backup big for their team. Why would they trade him? Well, if they have a lot of bigs and they have a lot of options like Castleton and Orlando Robinson, along with everybody, Wendell Carter, whatever, maybe they will give up Goga and trade him to us for somebody like Oshai Abaji. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, this stuff's coming up soon. And I think it is inevitable that the Toronto Raptors will make a deal in sometime in the next couple weeks. I really do think it's going to happen. Let's see. It's reported that either or both Dick and Oshai are the pieces to go. I want you to cite your reference, Shaq Lindsay. Is it The Athletic? Is it Michael Grange? Is it Shams? Is it Jake Fisher? Whoever the fuck it is. In some ways, I don't like speculation. And until something actually happens, rumors, whatever, some people are trying to say Jake Fisher's been very accurate about predicting things with the Raptors. I call bullshit on that. Even if he said we were going to draft Scotty, honestly, a lot of people could have said we were drafting Scotty. It's kind of like he was a very much a stud coming in and stuff like that. But it's like, whatever. That man was been so wrong on so many other things. And the insight Jake Fisher has on the Raptors, I don't trust. I still don't trust, even if there's some evidence to say, oh, well, he was calling out the Brandon trade before it happened. Yeah, well, you know what? A clock's right like one time a year or something, or one time a day, right? And I don't believe half the shit that Jake Fisher says, most of the shit he says. I actually don't believe him at all. I don't. I'm actually like, oh, that's the one time he got it right. That's kind of my mentality with him. Some people think he's just gospel, and whatever he says about the Raptors is just true. No, fuck that. Don't believe that, Raptors Nation. Jake Fisher's not our friend, and he does not know what he's talking about with the Raptors all the time when he's talking about us. Just so y'all know. Just so y'all know. Kareem Thomas is saying this CIBC. All right, this is he's going to come in with the stuff he has to say about these jerseys. This CIBC saying we run this shit. I'm sure if you sign up with CIBC, you get a free tempo jersey, bank card jersey. Yeah, Kareem was the one calling it a bank card jersey because that CIBC is so big, Teresa. Maybe you guys can shrink it a little bit because it's so prominent and crazy. I like the Sephora in the spot there. That looks good. But in some ways, it's like instead of that CIBC logo, we should have had the Tempo logo somewhere on there. That's what I'm thinking. All right, we'll do a poll right now, guys. We're going to start a poll right now. Do you like the new Toronto Tempo jerseys? Do you like the new Toronto Tempo jerseys? All right, and this is a free research for Teresa Resch and everybody there, and we'll just put it up. There you go. There you go. Do you guys like them? Do you guys like the new jerseys? There you go. There you go. Boom goes the dynamite. All right, let's see. All right, let's see what else we got in the chat today. We got some more stuff to cover today. Interesting things going on around basketball in Canada and all kinds of stuff going on. Let's see. Where am I in the chat? I lost my place. I'm going to make sure I get every comment today. Shaq Lindsay saying the Raptors 905 need to be challenged. It just seems like they are in a league of their own. They'll definitely get this now. The way that G League works is very territorial. And, there's 4 divisions in the G League, and there'll be 8 teams in this tournament that they're about to go into. And, each of the teams that were at the top of their division are in, and the Raptors 905 are the number 1 seed because we have the best record in the G League, and we will be, the number 1 seed. So we're playing San Diego Clippers, who were actually a wild card. They are actually 3rd in the Western Division. So it's like there's 3 teams from the Western Division that qualified, and the Clippers were 9-5. So they're the 8th seed in this tournament coming up. So they're 9-5, and that's a better record than most of the teams we played. Maine Celtics and Greensboro Swarm kind of had records there. So I'm guessing that All right, Grand Rapids Gold is in. We are in. Austin Spurs are in. Salt Lake City Stars are in. Stockton Kings are in, and San Diego Clippers are in. So those are like the four teams for the West: Austin, Salt Lake City, Stockton, and San Diego. And now, obviously, it's not divided by East and West because we're playing the Western team, the Clippers, in the first round. And then on our side, I guess it's us, number one seed. Grand Rapids Gold, which is Denver's G League team, is the second seed. And then Greensboro Swarm is the third seed. We beat them twice this year already. And I don't know if it's the Maine Celtics. I think the Maine Celtics are the fourth team on the Eastern side. So there's two teams in our division that are going to be in this tournament, but they're lower seeds. So yeah, this is interesting. We'll have to see. I guess because we played Maine Celtics twice and kicked their ass already, we don't get them in the first round. We get the San Diego Clippers. So yeah, I think we'll be challenged in this tournament. I mean, think about it this way, Shaq Lindsay. This is a one and done, just like the NBA Cup. And Andrew Jones and the 905ers are going to have to really take these games seriously, or they may find themselves put out in the first round. And we don't want to do that. We don't want to go through a perfect tip-off season and then lose in the first round to the Clippers in this tournament. No, we need to take care of business and take all of it. And you know what? Their attitude's really right on this. They're not getting too far ahead, and they're not getting cocky. They're not getting lackadaisical. They're not getting too big for their britches. They're not believing their own shit. They're just kind of doing it very humbly and very like on task for what is the objectives at hand. And I appreciate that professionalism and that attitude by the 905. That's part of how they got this 14-0 record. Because you get to 8-0, 9-0, you can start getting lackadaisical and kind of flub one and then just ruin your perfect record. But they had not done that. So in some ways, it's like the challenge isn't just playing a team that you may be kicking their ass and routing them. The challenge is against yourself and staying up and playing at a high level. And once again, when you play and you win so many games like that, they all want to take you down. You become like the champions. And there's like, yeah, 905 have not lost. Let's be that team that beats them finally. So there's a lot of pressure and a lot of challenges that Raptors 905 and Andrew Jones have faced in the last month or so in success. Is just staying up at that level and continuing to keep winning when it's easy to kind of be like, yeah, we won so much. It's great. And you let it's one slip because they haven't done that. And that's really impressive, honestly. 14-0, 14 games. I know some people say they haven't had any challenges, but that's not true. They have had some games that were close, and they did manage a close game in clutch to win it when it was close. That's right. That's right. Seymour saying, okay, salute Kareem. Is that only in the city, though? Yeah, I don't know what's going on. CIBC is obviously a very prominent advertiser for the Toronto Tempo, literally, because it's so prominent on the jersey. Yeah, I don't know. The jersey, in some ways, when it has such a huge logo on that, it kind of makes me think of Eurobasket and them having huge advertisements on some of their jerseys over there and the European teams. So, yeah, the NBA does have logos on their jerseys, but the meat of the jersey is the number, the player's player's last name, and the team name, and not maybe a logo, but not a huge advertisement like that across the stomach. I don't know. Is that way for anybody else in the WNBA? Because in some ways, that's a huge, huge thing. Did CIBC pay y'all a lot of money to get that stomach covered like that? Because that's a big, huge advertisement on there. You're starting to get into NASCAR as advertising on with a size like that. That's what I'm saying right there. Yeah. Yeah. Seymour saying most likely. Let's see. G's here. Good to see G. Hi, Lex. Just an FYI, when I tried to comment originally, it said subscribers only, which I have been for a long time. I had to unsubscribe, then subscribe again a few times for anyone else having issues. That's interesting and weird. I don't understand that. Well, I'm glad that you were able to get back in and find a way to talk to us. If anybody else comes across this problem, please let me know. Yeah, I don't know. Google and YouTube are always changing things and switching things up in weird ways. And I haven't totally been going along with what they want me to do. There's all kinds of stuff they send me all the time that they want me to do, and I'm just like, no, I'm just going to do the things that I do. And some of it is like they want me to make more revenue for them. And in some ways, I'm not trying to do everything that YouTube does with their standards to enhance revenue, whether it's for myself or for them. And in some ways, they don't necessarily put me on the algorithm because of that, because I'm not cooperating. So I don't know if they're doing something screwy to you. I'm sorry, and I appreciate your wherewithal to come through and get that done by unsubscribing and subscribing back. Salute to our original Raptor Freak Trivia Champion G. And please, yes, if there are any kind of these kind of things in the future anybody's dealing with, let me know because I can try and fix things from my end. Hopefully, yeah. Seymour's saying it's happened to me before too. That's interesting. So that could be YouTube trying to mess with me and mess with my subscribers and see if some people don't really like me enough to go to the trouble to do what you guys did. So yeah, that sucks, man. That sucks. Hopefully that doesn't happen anymore because that's not right. Seymour's saying I just keep reloading the page till comments are available. There you go. There you go. Whatever's working for you guys, go ahead. Go ahead. And I appreciate y'all's wherewithal on doing that, man. Seriously, that shows that you guys really are committed to keeping up with the channel. And I appreciate it, man. That means a lot to me. G's saying this, go Toronto CIBCs. Joking, I like the jerseys and colors, but a few things. One says Toronto and the other says Tempo. Not very consistent. The CIBC is too big and I wish it had more of that blue as well. Yeah, I don't know if they're just planning to have the Bordeaux and white as the main jerseys in the beginning and they introduced the blue over time. I'm guessing that may be. I was also wondering if maybe there is blue on there, but it's hard to see in the pictures because hydrogen blue in print can look like white. And maybe if we looked at those jerseys up closer, that's not actually white trim. It's actually like the hydrogen blue trim, you know. The reason why the two jerseys say something different is home and away. So it's very likely that the Pioneer or what is it, the Explorer jersey is the away jersey, the one with the Bordeaux main color, and it says Toronto on it because you go on the road and you wear that, and the other team's fans see, oh, Toronto, that's their team, and the home jersey says Tempo on it, and it's white. So that's normal. We've had the Raptors haven't done it as much, but there are times where we switch from Raptors on the shirt to Toronto on the shirt. And that's always been the case with most sports teams. If they have like some teams don't do it, but if you have some shirts, some jerseys will be Toronto, some jerseys will be Tempo, and that's just how it's going to be with our WNBA team. So, Black Mama's here. Good to see Black Mama. The Tempo should use their 2024 logo. That one is hard. I need a hoodie or some merch with that on it. True Toronto OG logo. Yeah, man. I'm telling you, here's the logo right here on the sweatshirt right there. I like this logo. It's kind of grown on me. It looks kind of like a headlight with beams coming out of it. And Teresa explained the lines really have meaning to them. Like they're the pillars of like their identity. And some have even said that they're supposed to represent the 6 boroughs of Toronto also. So there's a couple of like inner meanings to the method to the madness of what the logo is. Kareem saying their jersey don't match the merch. It's pretty fucked up. I don't think that color's right. I think in some ways, and maybe somebody's fucking with the Tempo already, that somebody has put out pictures that are not totally the right color and they're not coming off right because some of the pictures look way too saturated with brown in some of the release pictures yesterday, and the color is not exactly right or being properly represented in some of the materials that were released yesterday. I think that if you see the jerseys up close in real life, you'd be like, that's not what this looked like in the picture that we saw originally. And I think that's partly because that color is so interesting, that Bordeaux. And like I said, the hydrogen blue may not be able to be seen in a print because it's such a light blue color. It may come off as white on some of the pictures. So we'll have to see. We'll give them a chance. And in some ways, it looks like 62% of y'all like the jerseys so far in the poll. So that's a good sign right there. Yeah, G saying this, but overall for a first go at it, I like them and love the wine color. I think that they just wanted a very basic design to just start the template. And that, there's a lot of ways and directions that they can go in from this very basic original jersey. In some ways, these jerseys will be iconic, a little bit like the Raptors dinosaur jerseys, because they'll be sentimental, because they'll be kind of like, this is the first year jersey. And, this is the kind of jersey that in 20 years, 25 years from now, they'll be bringing them back for like retro showcase. And maybe by then, everybody will be like, wow, I haven't seen those jerseys since 2026. or something like that, or 2027, whenever, however long they wear these ones. So HC saying this morning, y'all. Not a fan of the jersey, but wasn't a fan of the original Raptors one either. Sponsoring is more important than WNBA, so understanding for CIBC's huge ass logo. That may be right. So understandable for it. That may be right. That may be right on point. I mean, listen, you probably can get more money the bigger the logo is. So Teresa's like, how much money are you willing to give us, CIBC? Okay, this is how big the logo is for that price. That may be part of it right there. HC, good to see you. Our dominant leader in our fantasy league. HC is kicking butt. There were no points awarded for last night's game. The NBA Cup game last night was not an official NBA scheduled season game. None of the stats that OG collected last night or anybody in that game last night went towards their season stats this year because it's an 83rd game for both the Spurs and the Knicks. And alas, because of that, that's why we did not have any fantasy scoring last night. Even if you had Spurs and Knicks on your rosters, you didn't get any of those points because that's the 83rd game. That's the extra game that those guys played in last night. And that, so yeah, HC checking in on the fantasy real quick. Very, very early on. HC is playing. Who are you playing this week? You're playing Kaz. That's a good matchup, man. We got some powerful matchups right there. HC versus Kaz, a 7-1 team versus an 8-0 team. Something's got to give right there. And then I have my own matchup with James, 2 7-1 teams right there. So those are matchups of the week right there. Four of the top teams are playing each other right now. The division leaders are against each other right now in our fantasy league this week. So get your lineup set, and we're back in action again tonight. G saying this, yes, and wish it had its logo on it somewhere, but like the lines down the side, that's creative. Yeah, I like the lining like there. That does do justice to this logo here. But in some ways, we'll have to see. There's going to be variations. They're going to come out with different jerseys. Doug Smith is joking on Blue Skies. It's like, I like the jerseys because there's only 2 of them. There's not going to be only 2 of them, Doug Smith. Just the 2 of them for this year. And they're going to have specialty jerseys and variances and changes over time. That's just how this works with the apparel industry and sports and just how it is. You don't like all the Raptors jerseys, Doug? Is that what you're trying to say? You don't like all those jerseys, Doug? Come on, man. Don't be such a hater. Shaq Lizzie saying this, Jimmy up to no good again. Warriors should have read the warning signs before buying Jimmy. This is crazy. Some things are going wrong in the California right now. It's like the only team that isn't going wrong is the Lakers, but I'll give them time. They're probably going to figure out some way to blow up at some point. But yeah, life's not good in Sacramento. Life's not good in the Clippers. And now Golden State is rearing its ugly head. The Warriors are not winning as much. And apparently a fan wrote a message to the owner of the Warriors, and he actually wrote them back. It's crazy that he said, it was like to the guy, the fan was saying, I'm really frustrated. Our team should be doing so much better with who we have. And then the owner's like writing him back saying, I am even more frustrated than you. And he said all this stuff. And now Steve Kerr's saying, oh, what the owner said isn't that bad. And a lot of it, in some ways, Jimmy Butler is centered in it. But it also, I would just say this. The Warriors are an old team, and in some ways, time is undefeated. Let's just put it that way. Time is undefeated, and y'all gonna try and get Al Horford and Jimmy Butler and these older players, and with Steph and Draymond aging themselves. Yeah, listen, the Warriors are a weird franchise with their fan nation. They're privileged, and they feel like they just deserve everything. They just, we should just be this and this. No, reality hits. And in some ways, y'all's team has been mid, even though you rose up and got one more championship in recent years. Y'all's team has been mid pretty much since we beat y'all and closed down Oracle. And you know what? You guys just were riding off the fumes of like a dynasty that you guys had in the 2010s. And this is just a logical progression of aging. And the Warriors are definitely one of the older teams in the league. And just like the Clippers, they're losers because of that. Because honestly, this is a young person's league now. This is an up-tempo league. This is a league where 94 feet of defense is being played. And if you're a lackadaisical 2010 style player that was like in the superstar era where people could be very lazy and just walk around and rely on talent, that era is over. And in some ways, these older teams are getting shown to be imposters with the new era coming. because you can't play the way you did when you won those championships against Cleveland, Steph Curry and all y'all, because this league has changed, and the Raptors are symbolic of how that league has changed. Seriously, because we're playing up tempo, we're playing hard, and you saw how the Thunder and the Pacers played in the championship last year. Well, that's the new NBA. And if you guys are trying to play an old style or trying to reconnect with the old dynasty era, that era is over, man. This league will change drastically when these guys all retire. James, Durant, Steph, and Draymond. This league's going to change. It's going to be the new league, and it's for the young players. Yeah. Jimmy has shown a proclivity at each stop to be a problem. In some ways, he's very similar to Chris Paul. Let's just put it that way. People have come down on Chris Paul for caring and wanting players to come and play right, come correct to practice, and actually put in the work and actually do the things that are right because they know, because they're vets and they know what the NBA takes, and they're trying to be leaders and they're talking about it, and then they come off as assholes. And people are like, yeah, we don't want to listen to you anymore, Chris and Jimmy. Even if y'all are right, we don't want to listen to you. Whether it was Jimmy Butler in Minnesota, Jimmy Butler in Miami, well, Jimmy Butler in Golden State. And in some ways, you guys get these people come to your teams. You got to know what you're getting because the track record you already seen. That's it. It's all great and gravy if the teams are winning. And that's probably what the audacity of the Clippers and the Warriors thought with these two individuals. Oh, it's going to be great. It's just going to be a fantastic, fun year of winning. And we're going to be so happy to have Chris Paul and Jimmy Butler on our teams. Well, it's not turned out to be like that. And these guys are squeaky wheels that will tell you everything you're doing wrong. And some people don't want to hear that. Well, you got these guys, you put them on contract. It's your choice. You did this, Fiercely saying this. Good morning, fam, and happy Wednesday. I was hoping the Spurs win yesterday so that Milbester doesn't come gloating on the stream. I don't know if he'll show up, but if he does, that's great. I timed him out earlier this week, and I might have made him mad. I don't know. I was trying to call a game, and he wanted to do his own thing like he always does. And I'm like, bro, I'm calling a watch along right now. We're watching Maine Celtics and Raptors 905. I'm not talking NBA. I'm not talking baseball. I'm not talking Knicks. And he came in like that, so I timed him out for 24 hours, and we haven't seen him since. So we'll see. He'll probably circle back at some point, and we'll wish him luck. Now, if they did a reset and everybody, they want to see who was really a Raptor freak and is going to come through because they're making it hard for y'all to chat in here, that's messed up. I don't like that. I don't like that, YouTube. Don't be screwing with my audience. Well, they're like that. They're going to come through and stick around anyway, even if you try and do shady shit to me on the download. That's right. That's right. Let's keep going. Let's see. Kareem saying the WNBA think women are walking billboards. How many ads do they need on their jersey? When the sponsor is as big as the team name, it's time to get out. It's all about greed now. Yeah, I mean, society is scary because, corporations are one of the worst things in the world right now because they have way too much power and they are not humanitarian and they don't give a shit about anybody. They just care about profit. And you know what? They say the idea of corporations with making so much growth and profit is like cancer. You can't eat everything up and think that that's sustainable growth. And in some ways, it's like it is very cancerous. The way that corporations prey on society, money, human beings, and different things that there's no human aspect they're actually thinking about. Once again, it becomes the biggest fight in our lifetime that's coming up is people over profit. Which one matters to you deep in your heart? Is it humanity and people and like the reality of humans and the species? Or is it the profit, the made up shit that humans made in this crazy ass world where you massage your ego by saying, oh, this is my bottom line. This is my net worth. This is how much I made this quarter and all this bullshit. Sustainable growth is not the kind of growth that corporations are trying to do. They're absolutely unrealistic with their targets, and they will break laws and do illegal things just to manufacture the mirage of being a successful corporation with a certain amount of growth every quarter. So there's all kinds of dirty ass ways and things like that. I don't think this is not a horrible symbol as some of the insidious shit that goes on behind the scenes, having a huge logo on the jersey. I would say what I was saying earlier is much more important is the fight for the equal pay for the women that play in the WNBA, because that is indicative of a systemic problem with not paying women equally in the workplace for all of time. And maybe in some ways there's sexist and misogynists that think, oh, well, they're women. They don't deserve to get their equal share like the NBA players because they're women. And we've always treated women this way in the workplace, paid them a percentage of what we pay men and all this kind of other stuff. It's sexism, and in some ways it's fucked up. And that's why I stand with the union of the WNBA Players Association and what they're trying to accomplish in this labor disagreement. Yeah, because seriously, when are we going to progress to this world where equality is real and not just lip service? When are we going to progress this world where we actually are putting people on equal playing field with each other? Because still, this is the dirty little secret. It is not like that. And people say, "Oh, anti DEI, all this stuff." The whole reason why we had to do DEI and some of these watchdog groups to look out for women is because there has been a very much taken advantage of these groups in the past, and we just want equality. That's what I'm saying right here. As a white male with privilege myself, I want equality for everybody. If I do a job, I want a black woman that does the same job to be paid the same amount as me because that's right. And there's a lot of white guys like me that be like, fuck that. That shouldn't be happening in Raptor Street. What are you talking about? Well, you're a racist piece of shit. And you're probably sexist too, is what I would say. Because that's the way the world should be. You do the job right. Everybody should get paid the same amount. It shouldn't matter what your sex is or your color of your skin. And that's what I'm trying to tell people right now. That's it right there. Fiercely saying, I feel they gave the cup to the Lakers and the Knicks, knowing they won't get the actual championship. So enjoy the IST win, Knicks Nation. I think they actually earned it. I mean, this is a tough tournament to win. I mean, look, the Spurs beat Oklahoma City and then they lost to the Knicks in the finals. I didn't watch the game, so I can't say if there was ref manipulation. Mark Davis was there, and we know Mark Davis will try and shape a game. But either way, if that's the narrative that they wanted, they could have gone either way. I could have seen them wanting the narrative of Wembanyama winning too, especially if his grandmother died that day. That's an amazing story that they could have written if they could have done that. I think this is a true competition. There wasn't any kind of weirdness with it. I think the Knicks actually earned it and they won it, and they did it on the back of OG. So I'm really proud of OG today. I'm not happy the Knicks won, but I'm very proud that the leading scorer was Anunoby, a Raptors draft pick and a Raptors champion, and he makes us look good as he goes forward, even if he's not wearing our jersey anymore. So yeah, salute to OG Anunoby. Good job, my guy. At least we can take that in celebration as Raptors Nation. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Let's see. G saying this: Wemby will get pushed around by bigger and smarter bigs, but I can see him getting better and better too. Yeah, it's going to take a little while. It could really be that like Wembanyama is a true big man project, and like all big men, he doesn't just come in prepackaged and ready to go on the level he could be. That could be very true right there. Fiercely saying this, Lex, you said something interesting in reference to Spurs winning without Wemby. We've seen the same phenomenon with the Trey Young and LaMelo. Their teams without them win without them. You know what it is? And it's kind of interesting. It's because Wemby is so central to their attack. In some ways, he has the ball go through him so much. And when he wasn't there, the Spurs had to go more egalitarian. And they really spread the ball around to a lot of different people. And they got more opportunities. And they found a better balance in their offense. That's part of the reason why the Spurs were very successful when Victor was out, is because they all had to step up and take a little bit of what he was missing with him out. And they were very successful in doing it. And you saw growth in a lot of the young players on the Spurs because of that. People like Castle and Vassell and Dylan. And those that kind of stuff is good for a team. And even in some ways, some people in Spurs Nation, because I do pay attention to them, because I do consider myself in Spurs Nation on the Western Conference side, were saying that they were actually looking at trading Victor. What could we get for him? And maybe we'll be better without him. That's crazy, isn't it? I mean, the way he came in as such a once in a lifetime player, the fact that some Spurs fans actually are kind of entertaining the idea of trading Victor Wembanyama is weird to me, man, because he is a singular one of one so far in the NBA world. And the fact that they would even think about that is really crazy to me. It's really, really crazy. Let's see. Cream saying this: someone needs to leak the declined jersey designs. We should have had a vote like they did in Toronto Sun in '94. I don't know. Maybe we'll find them out someday. You know, we did get some of the leaked Raptors designs that we didn't get. And the main big thing was the Raptor was originally green. He was like the Grinch green, which is crazy. What if the Raptor had been green this whole time instead of red? It would be a totally different alternate universe we'd live in with a green Raptor instead of a red Raptor. I think that was the right decision. And the main reason why Beethoven and them decided to make the Raptor red was because the color looked better, and also the color was the Maple Leafs color, and that they wanted red involved with the early Raptors. So red was always supposed to be a color for the Raptors, partly because of the maple leaf on our flag. So, all right, let's keep going. Wemby put all his tricks into his bag just to beat Chet Holmgren. Yeah, that's really interesting rivalry that's starting to bud. There's some shit talking going on, and some people are criticizing Victor for talking trash to Chet. I love it. Don't get mad at Victor for talking trash to Chet. Let him do it. It's fun. It's good for the league, and that little bit of like, Victor's a good guy. It's not like this is a negative, bad situation that's toxic. This is just friendly competition, and those guys are natural foils for each other as far as they play in the same division, they play each other a lot, and they are a similar height. And there's always going to be comparisons to Chet Holmgren to Victor Wembanyama. So obviously, he should head it off with them and make it a bigger thing. In some ways, the NBA loves these kind of things, like Bird and Magic. So I'd say lean into it. And I don't think Wemby's wrong, and I don't think anything he's saying to him is too out of pocket that people should be mad at Victor for talking trash to Chet Holmgren. That's the way I feel about it. Wayne saying this morning, Raptor Freaks. OG carried the Knicks, and even commentators said as much. My narrative today is physicality. Does the Raptors have the necessary physicality to compete against teams like Detroit? Yeah, Detroit's a very physical team with Duran and Beef Stew and Thompson. Yeah, these guys are scrappy and they're tough to play against. And we haven't seen them yet. We'll see them in January. We won't get to see them this year. So we'll see them when the calendar flips next year. We'll get our first taste of playing the Pistons. And we'll just see how real they are against us. And who knows? Listen, RJ could be back for the game tomorrow, guys. And we'll have to see where we're at then. I really do feel like once RJ comes back, we should be ready to get back into the mode we were in when we were winning 9 in a row. So get ready for that. And also, our schedule is a little bit interesting coming up. There's very winnable games, and some of them are very big tests against teams that are very close to us in the standings, like the Celtics on Saturday. So, yeah, they came out with the new power rankings this morning for the NBA, and we are 13 now. We dropped another spot, even though we only had one game this week and we won against Miami. And they even say that. And they say because of the NBA Cup schedule, the Raptors played just one game in the past week, picking up a key win against the Heat to stop a 4-game losing streak. But the most important development for Toronto is the news that RJ Barrett is set to return to play activities. The Raptors were 12-5 when he went down with a knee injury, and they've only 4-6 in his absence since. That's Zach Cram that wrote that. Yeah, he's already practiced a couple times with the guys this week. He's not full contact, but he's resuming, and that it really is a good sign that he should be back in the next 2 games because these games are kind of spread out. We've had 2 days off before this game against Milwaukee tomorrow. If he doesn't suit up and play against the Bucks in Milwaukee tomorrow, I'm fully expecting RJ back for Boston on Saturday, guys. That's the way I look at it. But we dropped. We fell a spot from 12 to 13. And this is my beef about this. All right, Cleveland is number 14 below us. Yeah, we swept them this season. They damn for sure better be below us. But why are the Miami Heat number 12 and we're number 13? We just beat them at home. We've only played them once this year. And the old power rankings logic, this is where I don't like your power rankings because they're perception and you're just making up shit. If there was a methodology or a science to how you rank these guys, maybe according to how they win and lose against each other, you put us above the Miami Heat after beating them this week? Like, why are we dropping one spot and Miami is above us? Seriously, we beat them. We beat them. You need to raise us above them. Seriously. And then they got the Sixers at 11th. And we beat the Sixers bad. They may have beat us on a convoluted back-to-back the first time we played them, but we beat them the second time. And then our record is better than the Sixers. We have 2 more wins than them. And y'all got the Sixers up from 16 to 11, jumping ahead on the prospect that Paul George and Joel Embiid might be healthy right now. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. So ESPN with your bullshit. And then they got the Celtics at number 10. You know, we played the Celtics pretty even so far this year. We beat them and they beat us. It's 1-1. And well, we're going to try to have to beat them again. Seriously. I think we're 1-1 with them. Maybe we're not. Maybe they did beat us so far. I think we only played them once, actually. We're going to play them again Saturday. We'll even it up this weekend. That's what I'm saying right there. But yeah, Orlando is at 8th. They jumped up 2 spots. The Knicks fell a spot. They win the NBA Cup. This is so stupid. What are you doing, ESPN? They won the NBA Cup last night, and y'all downgraded them from 5th to 6th. Where's the logic in all this bullshit? Seriously. Where is the logic in this? They jumped the Spurs up. That's why. They just beat the Spurs last night. Zach Cram, you could edit this. You could beat, the Knicks are obviously better than the Spurs because they beat them last night. So how the hell are the Spurs above the Knicks and the power rank? You guys don't make no sense. You don't make no sense. There's no realistic rankings in the power rankings on ESPN at this point because there's no logical reasoning to why you guys do what you do. They literally beat them in the NBA Cup final last night, and you dropped the Knicks 1 spot and you rose the Spurs. That is it just because they beat the Thunder this weekend that you're going off of that? I don't know what your methodology or reasoning is. It's so full of shit as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, the ESPN power rankings. Go check them out if you want to laugh. Yeah, I don't understand. You dropped this from 12 to 13 and we won the game, and we're below the team we beat this week. It's ridiculous, man. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, let's see. All right, here we go. We're on G. Your shirt with both words, Toronto Temple on it, and using both colors would look sweet on the white. Wouldn't even need their logo. I like that Toronto looks glass like but can still see it. Yeah, these jerseys, I don't look at them some more because I have different pictures of them. They're very simple. They're not very flashy yet. They're like I said, a template. Now on this jersey, it looks like the one picture I'm looking at right now. You have the Sephora, you have the Nike, and then you have Tempo. And the Tempo font looks about the same size as the CIBC font. It does seem like that CIBC font is a little bit big, though. So who knows? They have other ways they could accent it with the hydrogen blue. They could actually, like on the Explorer jersey, they could actually do the white trim around the edges and then just on the number and maybe the lettering in the middle with Toronto and the number, they could put hydrogen blue around the lines around there. And that might pop really nice. But yeah, I'm wondering about the hydrogen blue. Are they going to include it this year on the jersey? It doesn't look like it. It looks like it's just going to be an accent color that will maybe come in over time. Maybe. I don't know. It's something to be determined. That's right. Let's see. Kareem saying Knicks are a well-oiled machine. They may just end up representing the East if we don't get our shit together. Man, never underestimate the New York market to screw themselves up and shoot themselves in the foot at some point. And it could very likely be a Giannis trade. It could be an injury or something goes wrong. There's, runs to the season, just like in a basketball game. Maybe they're going to go through a rough patch and they really spin out in bad, toxic ways with the coach, with the fans, with the media, with particular players on the team. I guess Rick Brunson's been on a good behavior recently. I don't know. There's all kinds of ways New York can screw up. We're only halfway through the season. We're not even halfway through the season. There's so much runway for changes and things to develop. And, I don't trust that market. I feel like New York City is one of the most volatile, toxic, dysfunctional markets. And somehow, some way, they'll figure out some way to be all screwed up by the time the playoffs come up. If it's not Thibodeau running them to the ground, it may be some sort of internal strife on the team somehow, some way. Who knows? James Dolan, Leon Rose, Cat, who knows? Who knows what might happen? We don't know. We'll just have to see. But right now, they are looking like the best team in the East, if you ask me. I think they're better than Detroit. And it's mainly because they have more experience as a core, and they are a certain type of team that is built to do well in the playoffs. So we'll just have to see. Fiercely saying this, I like the Bordeaux Tempo shade, but you barely see the Borealis blue. It's hydrogen blue. And Kareem is right. CIBC is almost as noticeable as Tempo. They need to fix the fonts. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see. This is the exact jersey that they wear We'll just have to see. They may tweak it a little bit. Maybe they're going to hear some feedback and they'll be like, you know what? Actually, that does sound like a good pivot to do a little bit this way. Maybe we said something on the stream and like Teresa's like, oh, I didn't even think of that. I don't know. Maybe it's too late. Maybe the machinations of getting the mass production of these jerseys and things is already on its way, and they're just set that this is going to be what it's going to be because it takes some time to get this all together and get it right for what's coming up. That's right. That's right. Kareem saying, if we hate the jerseys enough, I'm sure they will change it for year two. So keep the hate going. Yeah, I mean, I would like to think that that's how politics work too. If we hate the politics of the leaders that we have right now, maybe they could go away next year. That'd be great. That'd be great. Ontario Premier and President of the United States. That'd be great. That'd be fantastic. Smooth saying this. I like the Tempo jersey. Corporate sponsorships are the reality. I have no issues with that. Yeah, yeah. I think it's not a huge deal. I mean, it's just like Reggie's saying, it's a reality. They're going to need these. In some ways, the Tempo needs good backers like CIBC and Sephora. And there's no problem with that. There's no problem with that. Obviously, CIBC wants a very prominent place in the advertising as the main advertiser of the Toronto Tempo. Obviously, I mean, we won't even see the CIBC at a certain point. It's just that we got the first look at the jersey, and that's what's jumping out at Kareem Thomas, at least right there. Is that he thinks these jerseys look like bank cards, Teresa. It's so funny, man. It's crazy. Let's see. Kareem saying, I'm all for marketing, but it shouldn't be the focal point. I guess in some ways what he's saying is that logo is what's drawing his eye immediately for the jersey. And that's not good. In some ways, maybe there does need to be something that's a little bit more prominent that draws your eye first. Maybe. Let's see. G saying the merch is a home run. The jersey has a ton of potential with a few tweaks. Their colors are awesome and overall still good. There you go. I like G's positive takes on this, and I agree with them. The merchandise has been plentiful and varied and a little overwhelming. If you're a completionist and you wanted to own every single thing that's Toronto Tempo ever made from the start, you've already spent a ton of money this year, and they don't even have players yet because they have so many products. And there are crazy people out there that are collectors that will try and buy every single thing that ever had this name on it. They'll buy this sweatshirt I got on. They'll buy the candle I got out there, and they'll get every single kind of thing that ever had anything Toronto Tempo on it. Hats, shirts. I mean, they're making all kinds of products with the Tempo logo on it already. So, yeah, if you wanted to be a completionist and get the whole entire Toronto Tempo collection, you better be very rich because there's so much merchandise out there. And I agree. I think Good Game's right. I think that the merchandise has been a home run so far this year. I haven't totally agreed with having so much overwhelming all at once, but they keep rolling out new stuff as the year goes on too. So it's like the initial stuff came out, and they've even come out with newer stuff that since then over the last year or so. So let's see. Yeah, I think the colors are novel and they're unique and different in the sports world, even though some people are saying they look very Avalanche. I don't know. It's not exactly Avalanche colors. It's not exactly. Kareem saying, okay, my Tempo jersey rant is done. CIBC put the Toronto Tempo marketing team in a headlock and left them with no choice. If that wasn't the case, then they all need to be fired. It's tough to make a New Jersey. I said New Jersey. I think it's, the Raptors were really special in what they did. And one of the things is, I don't think that you can do a jersey like the Raptors had in your first year at this point in sports. Part of it is money and marketing. Part of the reason why we went to chevrons and went to the logo, the way that we do our jerseys in the recent years is because manufacturers that make jerseys don't want to spend so much overhead on detailed like patterns and logos or like the Raptor. And that's really kind of like how the world changed. We were lucky when we came into the league in the NBA, the Toronto Raptors. There was an era in the NBA with jerseys being really stylistic. And there was one guy in particular that designed a lot of the jerseys around that time. Think about what the Bucks jersey looked like then. Think about the Pistons with their weird light blue with that engine thing that there was going on. There were a lot of very colorful and ornate and detailed jerseys in that era of the NBA in the 90s. And the Raptors jersey was also designed by these same people that did a lot of those jerseys from that period. But now there's been more of a push in the last 15, 20 years around the NBA to minimize a minimalist approach to the jersey design and what's on there. So that's why, in some ways, the Raptors, I tell Raptors Nation this all the time, you're not going to get the dinosaur back because it costs too much. Sure, it'll work on a city edition for a specialty jersey, maybe a couple times a year. But the overall things and stuff like that, that's part of the reason why we changed our logo to this, is because this is much easier to put on hats and shirts than the Raptor himself. So, you got to understand that the Toronto Tempo jersey in some ways is minimalist because of, and not having to spend so much to make them. It's easier to print and make those shirts out, those jerseys out, without like a crazy ornate, kind of logo on it and all kinds of stuff like that. We were lucky with the Raptors when we first came in. The league's not like that anymore. If there's an expansion team come to the NBA in the next couple of years, they're not going to have a crazy ass dinosaur jersey their first year like we did, because those days are over. And that was a 90s period where that could happen like that. Yeah. Let's see. G saying this: no league has been profitable prior to 30 years of existence. WNBA is right on track with where the NBA was. In fact, the NBA almost went bankrupt prior to Magic and Bird. Yeah, I mean, there's different levels of profitability in different places and different cities. In the early NBA, with the Huskies, they weren't feasible after 1 year, and that's why they went away. And teams would be like in and out of the league in the early history of the NBA very fast. It was very tough to have a sustaining market and a sustaining thing, and that's why it's kind of impressive. The Celtics and the Knicks have been the two teams that have stayed in the league the whole entire time since the beginning and stayed in the same place, because relocation, franchises folded, all kinds of stuff like that. And you're right, the stability in the NBA didn't really come about until the 80s and Magic and Bird and Michael Jordan, because in the 70s they were about to go bankrupt and the NBA may have been in trouble, and they actually saved themselves by acquiring the ABA. Like, the ABA was a real threat to the NBA and was actually like all kinds of problems. And it was a real interesting period when the ABA and the NBA were both going at the same time. Very, very interesting period in the history of basketball. So, yeah, I think that a lot of sexism has said for a long time that the WNBA doesn't make any money, but that's absolutely a misogynistic take that is very short-sighted and not actually true. Women's sports make and generate money. They do. It's just that there's sexist people out there that want to hold down women and say, no, they don't make any money. Nobody wants to watch this. And there's been a lot of that. And there still is a lot of that to this day. But yeah, women's sports is on the rise, whether you sexist like it or not. And people do pay money to see women play sports. And you better get used to that fact, is what I'm saying right now. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Seymour saying, salute Jane and Shepard. Thanks for the SGA merch. No flukes, Canadian goods, Canada. This is something you posted on the Facebook group. I noticed this morning, actually. I just saw it this morning. I guess you posted it yesterday. Seymour has some sort of shirt. It's got a comment on here. It's no flukes. And I guess this came out from Jane and Shepard, where he's saying, and it's a quote by SGA, Shea Gilgis Alexander. My whole life is consistent. Everything I do, from what I eat to when I sleep to my recovery, everything's consistent. It's a routine for me at this point. This is actually a very big secret of the success of SGA, is that he doesn't variate. He does exactly what he does. And in some ways, that's the key to his success. It's very interesting. It's very clinical. It's very like a laboratory. When scientists do laboratory experiments, they need perfect conditions with no outside influences. You can't have any kind of germs or bacteria if you're doing certain things with a petri dish, and you want to have a controlled environment so that you can really see the results. Well, that's SGA living his life. He's not deviating. His consistency is very on point, and I bet his lady is very much in tune with that. And like, yeah, I just got to let him do what he does because it's working. You know what I'm saying? So SGA may be a control freak to a degree in his private life, because he's like, no, I need to eat right now. Where is my cornflakes? Where are my cornflakes? I need to eat right now. It's like he might be like that a little bit behind the scenes, but there's a method to his madness that's working. So let that man cook on his consistency in his life and the way he does things because it translates to the court. And you see it very consistent out there. Yeah, you go on MVP, champ. That's right. SGA's our dude. We love him up here. That's right. No flukes. All right. No flukes. Canada strong. Let's go. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying Jimmy said we don't box out, we don't play defense, etc. I bet after those comments, the Warriors would like to put Jimmy back in the box and ship him FedEx, UPS. I mean, Jimmy is just in that I don't give a fuck era now. Seriously. In some ways, it's weird. It's like Kyle Lowry and Jimmy Butler are good friends, right? In some ways, Kyle Lowry has the reverse journey that Jimmy Butler is having right now. It's like Kyle Lowry was this brash, outspoken kind of asshole early in his career, but he toned it down and used it for the benefit of the team as his career went on. And he's still a very outspoken, brash person, but he knows how to use his powers for good. Jimmy Butler's like the opposite. He came into the league and he seemed like he was more of a team player and working with everybody. But now he's at this point in his career where he's just like unfiltered and in some ways toxic. He definitely was toxic in Miami on his way out. And it sounds like the same shit has followed him to San Francisco. So, yeah, very interesting stuff. In some ways, I'm not against Jimmy or Chris Paul because they're authentic people and they live their truths. And in some ways, they have truths that some people don't want to hear. And that's where the problem is. That's where the problem is. I'm not mad at Jimmy. I'm not mad at Chris Paul. These guys are real veterans that really know the NBA and they know what they're talking about. And I would tell the people that are having problems with them, you better heed them, is what I'm saying. If they have this to say, they're trying to help, and that's their way they want to try and help. If just because it hurt your feelings, just because it made you feel like, oh, I'm not doing it well, or you're piling on, maybe you're an asshole about it because you cussed at me when you sold me. I don't care. Tough love. This is a tough league. If you're not, grown enough and mature enough to handle constructive criticism, you shouldn't be in the NBA, is what I'm going to say right now. Whether it's Jonathan Kuminga or whoever. If you're a young player and you come in this league and you think your shit don't stink and you're not ready for Chris Paul to ream you out and tell you fucking suck, you shouldn't be in the NBA, is what I'm saying right now. You shouldn't be in the NBA. Kaz is saying this. Good morning, Lex and Rapid Free Crew. I agree with people saying the CIBC logo is too big. Well, I guess they got what they paid for, is what it's looking like. Seymour's saying this. What up, champ? Hope you and yours are good. There you go. The sheriff is saying hello to Kaz. Guys, we had an amazing moment last night, and I'm like, whoa, this is so cool. Scotty is living his best life right now. I think that this win over Miami and the way he was so instrumental for us to win with his defensive prowess has got him floating on clouds right now. He's out there saying God is great, his Instagram. And, well, he had another little thing that happened on the Instagram, a little thing that happened on this, a little person that happened on this Instagram last night. First, we'll start with Serge Ibaka. Where in the world is Serge Ibaka right now? It looks like he's back home in Brazzaville with some people back there. So, yeah, I'm not totally sure. Yeah, he's back in Brazzaville. It looks like in his Instagram. Chris Boucher's got what's that guy's name that's like an old dude, but he looks like a little kid? He was like a celebrity for like a year or something, and he was like everywhere. And now I don't know what's going on with him. Maybe he's not as cute anymore. He's saying, I need to go to bed early tonight. And then also me at 3 a.m. up like eating snacks. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Chris has also got Jerry Seinfeld looking at a computer saying 12-year-old me watching Windows Media Player visualizations while listening to music. You guys remember that? Like that period of time when we were younger where you would put music on and your computer would put on some sort of display with like lines and bouncing around and stuff like that. And that's actually what we would just put on the computer. And you could actually watch it and zone out to it while you're listening to your favorite music. I remember I had this on my iMac. I had like one of those Blueberry iMacs that sat on with the color on the back hood. And I would put on the iTunes with the visualizer. Chris is talking about this, man. He's nostalgic, bro. Chris Boucher will get you some nostalgia on his Instagram stuff, man. I'm telling you, there's Teresa Resch at the Eaton Center, and they had the big unveiling. They dropped the curtain, and there it was, the Toronto Tempo jersey. It looks like AT&T has a logo on the back of the jersey too. But yeah, I'm telling you, you should have not revealed the jersey until you dropped that curtain, Teresa. I think that you messed up when you did that. It should have been a completely a big deal that way. But I like the security thing where you have people saying, no, you can't see it yet. You really built it up nice. It's just, why did you go on breakfast television and reveal the jersey so soon? You should have hyped it up more. In some ways, you need to watch more pro wrestling, Teresa Resch. to learn how to build things, to get more interest and to get more hype. In some ways, it's like you should, I don't know. Anyway, I'll stop criticizing. You did it the way you did it. And, Toronto Temple have a pattern of weird, kind of janky, kind of weird release stuff. That's just, I guess that's maybe their calling card is that they're just going to have leaks and weird release stuff is just how it goes. But Teresa, we love you. And we want the Toronto Tempo to be as successful in all aspects as possible. We really, really do. We really, really, really do. All right, let's see. What else do we got on the Instagram stories? Let me see. Who's the next one? Fred VanVleet did reveal that he's going to have Kevin Durant on his Unguarded podcast first. And he's talking to Durant. He's saying, what do you see yourself in the league as your stature in the league's history? And Durant's very open. He says, I'm sitting at that table with LeBron, Kobe, Magic, Michael, and Larry Bird. And he's like, yeah, I can go and sit with those guys and talk about basketball on their level as a superstar, as a guy who changed his generation, as a guy who was in huge situations and had to be tested for winning and stuff like that. I love that. So it looks like they're very casual with their conversation. They're both laid back and they're very, very at ease. So it's coming out today. The Fred VanVleet Unguarded podcast with Kevin Durant as his first guest ever. I'm just so curious to hear these two personalities mesh and hear the insight of them going back and forth with each other. In some ways, Kevin is very much an iconic NBA player in the history of the NBA. And Fred is an undrafted guy that has earned so much respect. And I think in some ways, one of the things that I like the most about this podcast is seeing how Kevin respects Fred and Fred's journey. So I want to see that. I want to see what happens there. Zach Edey's been hurt recently, but he's got cool pictures of him with his friends. Looks like he's been playing pool. Chucky Hepburn with the highlights from yesterday just knew it was great. He just knew it was green. He knew it was greenies. Making the shot with 4 minutes to go, the 3-point shot to help the Raptors 905 get a huge lead at that point. They were up by 23 at that point, undefeated. You go Raptors 905. Y'all deserve it. Y'all deserve it so much, man. Let's see what else we got in here. There's Norman Powell showing highlights of when we played him in the Miami Heat the other day, and it's him hugging Jack Armstrong, hugging Matt Devlin, him with his Heat teammates warming up, but also connecting with Raptors people from Raptors Nation, people that he worked with for many years when he played for the Raptors for 6 years. So I love seeing Norman showing himself on his Instagram with Matt and Jack. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. All right, let's see what else we got on the Instagram. Jonathan Mobo saying God is great. There's this beautiful clip of him holding his hands up the sky and just he's really smiling just like Scott. The success of the 905 has got to be a lot of fun to feel 14-0 vibes. Woo-wee! You keep going. Win this tip-off tournament, 905. You got work to do. Friday, San Diego Clippers, 3:30 p.m. Get them. Beat them. That's what I want to see. That's right. Elijah Martin celebrating the undefeated streak. And this CBL is asking you if you want to become an insider. Also, Kyle Mangus has been signed to the Spurs on a two-way. That's on here also. Let's see. AJ Lawson celebrating the 905 success in his stat line yesterday. A very, very good job. Pascal Siakam has set up another PS43 Foundation initiative in Indiana, and he's doing a couple of programs with the kids at a school. He's doing things with AI storytelling, which is interesting, and also teaching cyber protections for kids online. So Siakam always making a difference, putting his money where his mouth is with his philanthropy with the PS43 Foundation in education and technology. That's his especially there. All right, here's the one with Scott. Oh my gosh, guys. If you have not looked at Scotty Barnes' Instagram stories since last night yet, you need to right now because he's got his daughter on there, and his daughter's name is Millie. We found out that her name is Millie last night. That's at least I found it out then. Maybe other people knew already. But Scotty's little baby girl, her name is Millie Barnes. And they showed a clip of her back in Toronto watching the Miami game, and they're singing the Canadian anthem, and they show Scott on the TV. And little Millie goes, "That's Dada. That's Dada." It's such cute. Oh, so cute. It is so cute. And I'm sure Scotty's such a proud dad that like his daughter is recognizing him on the TV. Like, that's gotta be a moment. Plus, she's not that old yet. Like, she's gotta be just over a year old, not that old, and she's talking already. So it's a very, very cool moment to see. I'm proud of you, Scott. And I know that your daughter's very proud of Dada. And it's very cool to see her recognize Dada on the TV in Miami while little Millie is up in Canada with her auntie. Very, very cool Instagram story. If y'all have not seen this yet, you need to watch this. This is must watch for Raptors fans to see Scotty's little baby girl saying, "There's Dada, Dada, there's Dada." So cool, so cute. So cute. Andrew Jones is in Orlando with the kids already, and they're taking part in the warm weather and the pool. We see his son jumping in the pool and riding a motorcycle at the arcade. And yeah, he's just hype, man. After the game, he's really proud of his guys going 14-0. There he is giving Julian the chain after that win. And yeah, it's awesome. There's Heidi. She's looking like she's getting taller and taller, Andrew. Yeah, his two daughters play basketball, and they're going to be very good. And also, Andrew visited a UFC gym last night with a couple of his assistant coaches, Justin Cerise, and they were putting on some UFC fighting and stuff. I'm going to tell you right now, Andrew Jones is somebody you don't want to mess with. That man is tall and that man is built, and he will jack you up if you try and mess with him. I'll say that right now. Emmanuel Quickly was on the 2K last night. He was looking for a college My League draft. DM him to get in. So if you were in that game, maybe you could have been playing with Manuel last night on the 2K. There's the Tempo jerseys on the Toronto Tempo official Instagram account and the unveiling. Like I said, the color scheme, y'all got to watch out with the color scheme. Maybe get a background that makes it pop more and not the same color. And also watch out because the print in different ways, the colors can filter the color and it doesn't look like the true Bordeaux because there's filters and there's weirdness and it looks more brown. It doesn't look right. You really got to get this right, Tempo people, because we want the colors to come through true and vibrant to what the colors are, is what I'm saying. And Grady showing a picture of him. It looks like with his sister and his brother and Carla and another friend after the Miami game, just smiling real big. Yeah, that's definitely a couple of, dare I say, dicks there in that picture. That's definitely his sister that's standing next to him. And, of course, Carla Lessing, his girlfriend there. It was Jeff's birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Jeff Landicho. Originator of Open Gym. I didn't catch it was your birthday, but happy birthday, producer Jeff. Thank you for your work and your creation of the Open Gym show. And thank you for subscribing to my channel, man. I appreciate that. Let's see what else we got on the Instagram. Anything else? That's it. Oh, Jamal McGlure did a story about him using the cup at the finals, and that he just cared so much about the Raptors beating the Warriors that he was going to do anything he could to help Nick Nurse in coaching. And so he put the little hole in the cup. He started yelling. He was telling the story about why he did that. And because it was very loud in the arena, and he needed to make it louder with his voice. So he hollowed out the Tim Hortons cup and started yelling through it. There's your Instagram stories for today. Yeah, Scotty's little girl is so cute. And when I saw that, my heart melted. I was like, oh my gosh, what a rite of passage that the little baby girl saw her daddy on TV. And that, in some ways, that's a very cool moment because, like, dad's a big famous NBA player. And you know what, Millie, you're going to find out more and more as you get older just how important and badass your father is. Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's so awesome. Yeah, Kareem saying Jake Fisher has never been right about anything. Well, apparently some Raptors fans are saying that he called out that we were going to draft Scotty. And, well, I think a couple people did that, actually. I didn't myself. I didn't really do draft speculation that year. I hadn't started my channel yet. And to be honest, I didn't even watch the draft the night Scotty was drafted. I was out here driving around the country. I forget what I was doing that day. And then I found out it was a guy from Florida State. And I was like, oh, that's cool because I'm from Florida State. And I'm like, oh, Scotty Barnes, Florida State. And then I saw his shoulders and I was like, yeah, this guy's good. I saw his shoulders. That's what made me think. I was like, Scotty's going to be a very good player because he's got Dwight Howard shoulders as a guy coming into the league. That's right. Yeah, that's right. He stays fishing. Fisher. Yeah, he's always fishing for some bullshit. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying Orlando is way over the luxury tax, 21.5 million or 215 million. Sorry. Getting a pick and expiring is what they are looking for. Toronto expiring player and second for Goga. Maybe that works. I am for it. I think Goga's great. I watched him quite a bit this summer at Eurobasket. that he was a really interesting big, and in some ways he would be kind of the fit that we need. He's not a starter exactly, and he wouldn't really challenge Jakob for the starting, but he would give us insurance at that position. And like I said, once again, he's a player that is a couple years experience under him. He's not a total project. So he's a dependable player that can be put out there and do good things for the Raptors immediately. If they go get Goga, I'll be very happy. And I'm sure Sandro would be very happy too. And who knows, maybe Sandro will be able to say, yeah, you guys should get Goga. Bobby Webster may be taking Sandro aside and saying, listen, Sandro, I'm thinking about trying to get your friend Goga. What can you tell me about him? Oh my gosh, Bobby. Goga is so fun. He's crazy, man. He's funny. He works real hard. Don't worry. Get him. Get him. Okay, thanks, Sandro. Hey, who knows? Maybe he's feeling him out. Just like Bobby asked Garrett Temple about Brandon Ingram earlier this season, earlier this year. I mean, earlier this year. That's right. That's right. Salute the sheriff, and same to you, sir. That's right. Shaq Lindsay's saying his sources are from Raptors Digest. Okay, you want to dunk? That's hilarious. You did that on purpose. That's hilarious, my guy. He said that his sources are Raptors Digest, and just for the silliness of that, the wackiness of saying that, I'm gonna give Shaq Lindsay a dunk. Are you being serious? Your sources are Raptors Digest. 253, man. Shaq Lindsay, you've had a good year on the down low on the dunk charts, man. You're in the top 5 for sure with 253 dunks this year, man. Better than Fisher or Shams, old Ben out in the East Coast. It's hilarious, man. I respect the Raptors Digest. I respect your grind. Cool Cat saying this. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Happy for OG to get the NBA Cup, that he was a major factor in the success, for sure. I thought he was MVP. He was prepared for the moment. Our alumni are making us proud. He's such a laser on his threes. And when I saw he was the early scorer for them, I was like, yeah, go on, OG. Go on then. I mean, it makes the Knicks winning feel better when it's a Raptor product that came up and came to their team and does it. I mean, seriously, in some ways, it's like this is one of the few times where I'll get behind an Atlantic Division opponent doing well when it's one of our guys that are leading them there. And that's definitely what happened last night. OG, you're a badass. We love you a lot up here in Toronto still. And I'm not going to hate on you winning the NBA Cup last night, even though I was rooting for the Spurs. But yeah, I'm all about it, man. It's pretty cool. Cool Cat, isn't that awesome? Our guys from our team do great things, like be president of the Players Association, have a badass podcast, like giving technology and education to kids in Indiana. And then, well, OG's putting on that hard hat and taking the Knickerbockers team to places they've never been. That's right. Kaz is saying, I'm behind on the stream, but I did experience the same thing. It said that I haven't been a subscriber for more than 5 minutes. I closed the stream and reopened it, and it fixed it after a few minutes. That's weird. That's weird. You know what I might do, guys? If this is an issue, like it happens, has it only happened once? Did it just happen this time? Maybe what I'll do is I'll turn the subscribers only off on the chat, and we'll just go Wild West, guys. Because in some ways, this stream takes a long time to get through. And if I just have randos coming up and finding me and they just want to talk in the chat, well, they better subscribe to do that. That's kind of been the reasoning for that. But if there's issues with this and it persists, maybe I'll open it up and we'll just go Wild West. And even if the riffraff comes in, well, Lex will just have to, with the help of the moderators, moderate through it. It could be fun. It could be a new thing. Maybe we'll do that for the new year. Maybe if this is a problem still, that maybe I'm opening it up. It's not subscribers only for chat because I might need to do this. I don't know. Either way, I don't care. I do care about you guys being able to be in here and have access, though. That's what I care about. Smooth saying this. New York is a next level basketball place. Take a unique person to handle it. Yeah. It's just that we're in the new age of disinformation, misinformation. Perception is not reality, but they want it to be reality. And there's just a lot of different ways that things can go wrong more than ever. And part of it is fans, part of it is media, part of it is players being involved and interacting with fans and media. Part of it is just toxicness that can develop from these kind of things. And well, I'll give New York some time. I'll give them some time. And sometimes when things are the best. See, Milbester's in here celebrating. All right, Milbester, I'm going to give you a dunk for winning, just for winning. That's all I'm going to give you a dunk. And you're celebrating and you're back. So, yeah, we'll give Milbester a dunk. 114 on the dunk charts. Yeah, you guys won it. And good job, Ananobi. That's what I say. I don't agree with Brunson being the MVP. It should have been OG. Even though OG missed some of the games in the NBA Cup group play, he was absolutely essential in the tournament part. He's absolutely essential. I know firsthand from our team and last night. Mischief saying this. Good morning, the base man. Mischief, did you see Scotty Barnes' face at the end of the fourth quarter in a Miami game? Scotty looked like a WWF wrestler. I loved every second of it. He looked like Hulk Hogan and Macho Man. It really hyped up the team. Yeah. Just like this. It was crazy. I wonder if like little Millie saw Daddy and was like, Daddy, he's scary. I don't know. I listen, the biggest thing about when he did that was it was the right time, Scott. And you want that opportunity. That's why it feels good doing it then, because it's true, it's bona fide, it's authentic, it's actually winning. Instead of you doing it in the first half, when we're not anywhere near the end of the game, you want that chance to showboat or do the pose or do any of that kind of stuff. Do it and when it matters, like you did in Miami. And I want to see this happen regularly from now on. We want to see him Hulk out more often right at the end of the game because he got a big block or he made a big shot for sure. Baseman Mischief, salute to you, man. Good to see you. Kareem saying this. Apparently, they did the release at 6 a.m. because they knew it was dog shit. So they didn't want to receive backlash in real time. I don't know what that's right. Well, that's my theory. No, I don't think it's dog shit. Once again, 71% of us are saying they like the jersey. So that's a good sign. That's a good percentage positive about it. I mean, I get it. You're trying to be funny, but in some ways, I don't know why they did it right first thing in the morning. Teresa, wait. Just hype it up in the morning and then reveal it at the Eaton Center at 1. I don't know. Maybe it's just my autism and the way I look at things and patterns is like, well, you were already telling us you're going to reveal it at 1, but then you dropped it then. And Josh Lundberg agreed with me. He made a tweet yesterday saying, what did he say exactly? Let me see, because he deleted it afterwards. He didn't keep that tweet up. If you guys noticed, he deleted a kind of criticizing tweet about the Toronto Tempo's drop. And then it was gone later on. So, but Monique got it. This is what he said: cool jerseys, but who thought it would be a good idea to drop them at 6:15 a.m. on a Tuesday morning? Not exactly the best way to generate buzz. Rookie mistake. That's what Josh Lewinberg of TSN said about the jersey drop yesterday before he deleted that tweet. Yeah, he deleted that. It's crazy, man. Milbester saying this, Lex, I won't get into the baseball talk, but just a quick update. Canada announced their preliminary 35 team for the World Baseball Classic. The tournament is in less than 90 days. Wish them luck in Pool A. Yeah, this Canada's going to be playing in a couple different sports soon. We got the World Cup of soccer coming up and hosting some games up here. And yeah, I guess there's baseball classic too. Well, I appreciate you keeping it oriented towards either Canada or basketball with your comment, Milbester. Congratulations. You guys are NBA Cup champions. And in some ways, that's interesting. You take that cup word out of there, maybe you'll be NBA champions, but not yet. And does this really count the same way as the Larry O'Brien? Does it suffice, New York Nation? That's what I wonder to y'all. Y'all, I know my friend Alan, who's in Tallahassee, who's a huge fan of the Knicks, was really gloating and very happy last night when y'all won. So he's usually my litmus test for what Nick Nation's going through. And when he's in agony or he's victorious, I can tell what's going on with Knicks fans because of my friend Alan, DJ A to the L in Tallahassee. He's a DJ on the radio and in clubs. He's one of the best DJs in the South. You might have heard of him if you're around areas in the Southeastern United States, because he comes and does huge parties. And he has a Top Flight Club, is his home club in Tallahassee. And he's DJing there every weekend, putting on the best stuff. Yeah, Alan's a good guy. He's from England, and he worked at the radio station when I worked there. And that's how I know him. But he's a huge Knicks fan. And he was really celebrating last night when they won last night. He really was. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for the update, Milbester. And stay on task. And, hey, we're going to be good, man. You stay on the format for the day. It's awesome. Neil saying Goga over Sharp. Maybe. I mean, I think they'd be kind of equal in some ways. I think that in some ways I could make the argument that Day'Ron Sharp might have a higher ceiling than Goga in some ways. I don't know. Maybe not. Fiercely saying this, Amazon Prime crew, Nash, Griffin, Haslam, Wall, Rooks gave Scotty his flowers on his offensive evolution and effective how effective he is as a decision maker on the court. Shared it on Discord and the Facebook chats. Yeah, that's great. I mean, in some ways, I know that there's a lot of different crews between Peacock and Amazon and ESPN and the old TNT crew still around. I don't keep up with a lot of the stuff that they're saying about our team because in some ways I don't really care what they say. I like that they're giving him flowers, but in some ways these clips are things that I'm not going to keep up with. There's just too many, and more often than not, they're not worth watching because a lot of their opinions on the Raptors aren't usually that great. So I'm glad they're praising him. I'm glad they're giving him his due. But I didn't really. I know you posted it, but I don't think I watched it. I don't think I watched it. Neil's saying this. FYI, the poll triggered the subscriber glitch, a little software cookie. Interesting. 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 I don't know what they're doing. Either way, we'll make it through. The RFF will stay true and stick with me as they can. And if that's something that will drive people away from my channel, so be it. There's so many other things that would do it. But yeah, even if it's just a small crew, I'm happy. I'm not trying to do this for 1 million subscribers. YouTube, my goals are not the same as yours. My goal is to do what I do, and I'm already doing, and I'm going to continue to do it. That's right. Bill Bester's saying, at least my team won a trophy for the first time since 1973. That's right. You can say that. You can say that. You guys have finally are a champion of sorts, a cup champion. And you know what? In some ways, that's part of the reason why the NBA made this. Do we think the NBA Cup is successful at this point? Some people are saying, yeah, it's done a good job. It gets interest in the NBA season during a period of time when NFL is dominant in college football. And, there's a little bit more interest. Now, here's an interesting thing, though. They're not going to have it in Las Vegas next year. They are really struggling with this neutral site shit. Like the idea made sense in some ways. Ooh, let's put it in Vegas. And in some ways, they want to test that market for the NBA for a franchise, but it's not working. Not enough people are coming to Vegas for a neutral site to come see these games. And the people that come to these games, if they're just people in Vegas to be at casinos and see shows and stuff, they're not really NBA fans. So they're coming in, and it's kind of a weird crowd for the Cup games because it's a neutral site. So I think what the NBA is going to do next year is they're going to take that out of it, and they're going to keep it in the arenas for the teams and not going to do this neutral site next year because I don't think it's worked the first 3 years in the NBA Cup to do it in Vegas like this. And they've already said they're not going to do it in Vegas next year. So I guess there'll be a home court advantage for a team in the NBA Cup Finals next year. And it could very well be that game would have been played in Madison Square Garden last night next year if they get there. So, yeah, that's an interesting little tidbit of information. The neutral site did not work in Vegas because the crowd sucked. And the crowd was just jabronis off the strip in Vegas, and not really NBA fans. There were just people that were around, and they're like, oh, look, honey, there's an NBA Cup final game tonight, Spurs and Knicks. I don't even know anything about this. It seems like it might be fun. Maybe we can go to our first NBA game. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go. It's kind of like that was happening. It's kind of like that was happening. Neil saying, riffraff, number one here. That's right. Let's go. Let's go. Bing bong. Is that what they're saying last night? Bing bong. They're back to that bing bong all of a sudden. Let's see. Neil's saying OG and Robinson stepped up. They proved defense wins championship. OG was all two-way. Yeah, I love OG. And his success beyond us, I ain't gonna hate on it. Like seriously, even though it's a division rival and somebody that we don't necessarily want to see have success, I can vicariously live through the success of Anunoby. For sure, because we like him like that. Milbester's saying that Mitchell Robinson shut down Wemby in the fourth. He had 6 offensive rebounds, and Wemby didn't have one the entire fourth quarter. Yeah, I wonder how much the sadness of losing his grandmother was weighing on Victor during the game. And after the game, when he went to do the interview, he couldn't even do the interview. He had to get up and leave as soon as he said one thing, and then he got up and he couldn't continue the interview. So, yeah, Wemby's going through it right now. He lost his grandmother yesterday. And I don't know. In some ways, that can help a guy maybe play more passionately in their honor. And sometimes it can be a big distraction and take them off their best game. So there probably was a mix of both, man. Milbester's saying, congrats to the Spurs. They had a good run in the NBA Cup. Wish them luck in the playoffs. You're being a very honorable winner, Milbester. I appreciate that. Neil's saying this. Spurs went away from Wemby in the fourth instead of riding him more. Maybe it's partly what Milbester's saying, that Mitchell just did a really good job. And, they probably were trying to deny him to an extent. That's probably a big, huge part. Just like they were doing to Brandon Ingram when we played them the two times. They're very much probably crowding and physically just being annoying to players like Wemby and Ingram and not letting them operate comfortably with their long limbs. Because if there's one thing that I know about the Knicks, they're a very physical team and they will knock you off your spot and try not to let you do things. And if you're not a very strong anchored player, in some ways they can really alter your shot with cheap shots and little pushes that the refs don't see. So that's a part of the Knicks' success is they are dirty and they are pushing people on the down low that people aren't looking and seeing. Josh Hart especially, Josh Hart especially on that one right there. Yeah, yeah. Kareem saying 72% in favor of those jerseys tells me you guys pour milk before the cereal. Come on now. Come on now. Don't turn on us. It's 76 now at this point. There's nothing wrong with this. Seriously, we're trying to be positive. I think that it's true. I think that the jersey is going to look nice. And in some ways, it's just the newness, the brand newness of a new jersey for the Toronto Tempo that's fantastic and exciting right now because we know that means that we're going to play soon. And that's what we want to see right there. That's right. Neil's saying this I never pour milk before the cereal, but I also stopped drinking milk last year. Me too. I haven't been drinking regular milk for a few years now because in some ways, if you have a little bit of lactose problems, it can really affect your digestion. So I switched to almond milk. I use almond milk now and it's lactose free and I have no issues. And I still eat cereal with milk, but it's almond milk. I get Earth's Own. You know what? Let's do this. I'll be right back. Hang on. Give me a sec. Now, I'm not going to keep the milk out of the fridge too long because it might spoil. But yeah, Earth's Own is a almond milk, and this is chocolate milk. And this stuff is good, man. This stuff is good. I was just talking about it with my dad because he tried it. And he's like, man, this tastes so good. I can't even tell this is almond milk. It just tastes like regular chocolate milk. And Earth's Own is a Canadian company made in Canada. And if you can get this Earth's Own almond chocolate milk, it's fantastic. And I couple it up with some honey corn flakes by Nature's Own. And this is 100% Canadian too. And the great thing about both these products together is that they're very Canadian. They're very GMO friendly. None of this genetically modified crap. And they're also very organic and just good for you. So yeah, this is my combo for breakfast and milk right here. And well, should I go get a bowl and pour the milk in first and then put the cereal in after? I don't know. But yeah, here's your straight goods on Canadian goods. This combo right here, Earth's Own almond milk with honeyed cornflakes. These are just like regular cornflakes, but they are done by Nature's Path organic cornflakes, a delicious blend of yellow corn and a touch of honey. And there is all the stuff on the bottom there, non-GMO, gluten-free, organic, and Canadian right there. Yeah, so you want these kind of things. These are good for you. All right, I'm gonna put the milk back in the fridge because I don't want it to spoil. And I'll be right back. Straight goods on Canadian goods. Yeah, my OCD wouldn't allow that milk to be out this whole entire stream because it's like I don't want to spoil the milk just for that. I'll bring it in for just a sec. Straight goods. That's it right there. All right, there's your milk and cereal right there, guys. G saying this. I have a lot of respect for Mitchell. His former high school coach, Butch Stockton, who significantly shaped his character, was invited to live with him in New York after his wife's passing. Yeah, I heard about this story kind of a little bit that Mitchell Robinson had a very special relationship with his coach to the point where they've kind of been caregiver and like helping him in a bad place. And that's such a give back as a student of the game to his teacher to be there for him in that way. Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Mitchell Robinson for sure. For sure. I heard about that. Yeah. Milbester's saying tourism dropped a lot in Vegas recently too because it's gotten so expensive that no one visits. That's not the only reason why. The main reason why is Trump. Nobody's trying to come to the United States. Seriously. There's so many people up here in Canada that were supposed to go to the United States this year that did not. And they probably won't come back for a while. He's done irreparable damage in some ways to y'all's brand and image around the world. And a lot of people are turned off by the United States and they do not support ICE or anything he's doing right now. And one of the ways that they're showing it is by not coming. So I'm sure Las Vegas has been a ghost town compared to other years and years past because your president is bad for business and he's an absolute dictator and a piece of shit. So that's why it's not because it's more expensive. It's because you got a dick who's your leader and he's absolutely a piece of crap. And nobody's comfortable in endorsing or supporting your country because of that. In fact, we had the great hardcore legend Mick Foley part ways with WWE yesterday, saying that their coziness with Donald Trump is just too much for him, and he's ending his career, his contract with the WWE as a legend and appearing for the WWE because of their association with the president. He's not going to do anything with WWE anymore. He's sickened by it, and I stand with Mick Foley, and it's a very proud and brave stance that he's doing right now. He's gotten a lot of backlash from maggots and idiots that are Trump deranged for Trump. And he's exactly right. It's reprehensible, the connection between the McMahons and Trump and WWE in general. We've seen Triple H very cozy with Donald Trump in the last year. And you know what? As you guys that still watch the WWE, I would boycott it. Seriously. If you don't agree with Donald Trump and a lot of the atrocities doing around the world, he's trying to start a war with Venezuela to distract from Epstein in the next couple of days. I would stop watching wrestling and protest because they are helping and endorsing the president. And that's what I'm saying. In some ways, resisting is resisting with your financials and economics and not endorsing or giving money to entities that are bad for you. And that's why I say boycott US, boycott corporations, shop local, and support your local people that you see on the street face to face because they need that money more than Jeff Bezos or any of those other assholes at the top. So yeah, you think that Vegas is going down in business because it's expensive? No, it's two words. Donald Trump is why nobody's going to Vegas right there, Milbester. It's that simple. It's that simple right there. That's right. Let's see. Neil saying this. Actually, you should document the glitch and give it to YouTube to fix. I made my living for over 30 years working with software developers. Oh, awesome. Cool. Well, I'm glad that you could see this. I'm cynical. Maybe it was on purpose. I don't know. Maybe they put that glitch through on purpose. I don't know. Either way, you're probably right. But then again, I'm not a technical person. I don't even know how I would go about doing this. Maybe I go and find a link on YouTube's creator page and say, hey, this happened with my channel. Can you fix this? I don't know. Maybe it's a one-time thing. If it persists, y'all definitely let me know. Y'all definitely let me know. Bill Bester's saying his brother is lactose intolerant as well. There's part of it is that like the chemicals and the things that corporations use to shortcut getting things cheaper to us is like spraying phosphate over grains and the way they do things with cows and dairy and pasteurization. On the download, there's been a lot of small poisons in bread grains and in dairy that have absolutely messed up our digestive systems. And a lot of the reasons why this happens is because corporations are taking a shortcut to make things happen on less money. And it's absolutely detrimental to our health. So there's a lot of reasons why there's more gluten intolerance. Is because in the mass grains that they grow, they're spraying that with this stuff that's absolutely bad for us. And that's part of the reason why we all are getting these intolerances. So that's why organic and going local is more safer for you because the mass produced food is absolutely full of poison because they get it made cheaper by using the poisons in it. And that's a big part of it right there. That's right. That was the best straight goods on Canadian goods promo ever because I had to run out of the room and go get the milk. You influenced. I actually had another product here ready to put on blast, but I'll save it for tomorrow. You made me improvise in the moment to go get the Earth's Own almond chocolate milk. That's right. Chloe's here. Good to see Chloe. We always drive around the States occasionally, but I've made a decision not to go to the U.S. until the Orange Man is gone. Yeah, he's out of there. Yeah. I mean, listen, I've told my dad when he just left, and I said, "I'm not coming to see y'all while he's there. If he's in charge, I'm not coming to Atlanta." And that's just how it is. There's different reasons for that, but the main reason is I want to boycott the country, just like people in France, people in Netherlands, people in Australia, people across the world want to boycott the United States right now. And this is a crazy thing. He's done irreparable damage to the American brand, and he's made the country less safe and less secure because of it. They're not as strong as they were anymore. And partly that's because Putin is using Trump as a puppet to destroy the United States from within. And I can't believe that people don't read the between the lines and connect the dots to know that Donald Trump is an agent for Russia, and he's absolutely destroying the United States government in that country from the within. And in some ways, Putin is laughing. But the other thing is that Putin is losing his country on the down low too, because he's got this stupid war with Ukraine, and he's absolutely running his country into the ground financially because of this stupid war that was unjust and absolutely wrong, invading Ukraine. And well, I don't know. The world's changing quickly, and the United States and Russia are weakening as world powers. And it's mainly because they have psychopathic, dictatorial, kleptocracy, oligarchical countries right now. And there's other countries that are doing things more right, and they're going to come up and take more power. In fact, they're saying that China is going to start annexing parts of Russia as they weaken themselves in this conflict with Ukraine. That China can start sneaking in the back door and start taking big chunks of Siberia and saying, this is China now. And you ain't going to do a damn thing about it, Russia, because you've wasted your shot going after land that's not yours anyway. And you've wasted all your resources, all your energy, all your uh, manpower, all of your equipment. And China, they're opening up the door for China to just take big parts of Russia soon in the next couple of years, guys. And they're already doing it. The Chinese send a lot of workers into Russia, and they live in these cities, and they can do the same damn thing that Russia just did and say, well, we have Chinese workers who live in your country, we're liberating them. Just like the convoluted bullshit excuse that the Russians used to invade Ukraine in the first place. So it's crazy. These megalomaniacs, these deranged and demented psychopaths, they're absolutely egotistical, will cut their nose to spite their face just for their own egos and destroy their very powerful, strong countries just because they're shallow, weak ass men in their own private lives. So, yeah, they're going to get what they get. And sadly, the United States people are along for the ride. But listen, y'all are real Americans. Y'all are real patriots. You can be like the Minutemen. You can be like the different people that stood up in the civil rights movement and the Vietnam War and different other times in U.S. history. I know heroes will come and they will take this dictatorial, fucked up power that's in charge of the United States out. And there will be the balancing out of what America stands for and what it's supposed to be will come back again. But y'all need to be very thorough with your cleaning out of maggots and dictators, wannabe dictators, and fucked up people that are coming from this movement around Trump. And you need to punish them to the full extent of the law. None of this sissy ass shit you did with January 6th. In some ways, you got most of those people in jail, but in some ways, you didn't get Trump. And that's why he's your president now. So if you really don't want this to occur again, you better take care of it the right way if y'all get this chance again. Seriously. Because, like, listen, Putin and Trump will run their countries to the ground for their own bottom line and their own damn shallow, fragile egos. And understand, this is the way it's trending. The United States has lost power in this world, partly because they cut off U.S. aid. And they don't even realize that all the U.S. aid that they were doing around the world was absolutely diplomatic work that keeps America more safe and keeps the world a more just and better place. But the short-sightedness of cutting those programs has made America less powerful and less strong. And in some ways, nobody believes in them anymore. You're turning them back on historical allies like Europe and Canada and treating us like disrespectfully. Well, this is damage. He's damaging the country of the United States, and in some ways, it's in a way worse place as of right now today than it was a year ago right now. And that's just the damn truth. And Putin has been running Russia into the ground over and over again with shim sham, all this and that. in all kinds of different ways for decades already. And if you want to see where the US is going, well, look at Russia, because a lot of what Russia's doing is what Trump wants to do. And that's where you guys are fucked. Because if you really want the oligarchy kleptocracy, where there's a really rich, powerful top that just steals money from everybody else and everybody's poor as shit and they're just scraping for scraps, that's Russia. And the US is going in that direction right now. It's just the damn truth. You don't want to believe me? Well, don't. You'll see it happen. And you'll be like, what the fuck? Raptors Freak was right. That's right there. Yeah, let's keep going. Neil's saying this: I am lactose intolerant, but it doesn't matter because I cut it out entirely from my diet. Yeah, me too. I don't eat like cheese or milk or nothing. Nothing. Not anymore. Not anymore. I just don't. And in some ways, has that affected my life? I don't think so. I think you can get calcium from other foods that don't have anything to do with it. Wayne's saying this: I mentioned physicality, Lex, and you brought up RJ. This is a team discipline, and us not getting respect from the refs makes it a real problem. Las Vegas is dead due to Trump. Thought everyone knew that. Yeah, he's echoing what I just said. I like what Wayne's saying. He wants toughness on our team besides RJ. Well, I feel like Scott is coming through major right now. I mean, Yak, he's going to be that silent guy that's taking a lot of physicality and licks himself. I don't know. I think that Oshai, once again, you guys were totally off base on your opinions on Oshai. He's a very physical player, and he does a lot of good things for us. Grady may not be a naturally physical player, but he has to be. That's just how it is in the NBA. And with his frame and the way he is, he's going to just have to be physical to an extent in different ways. I don't know. We can take this on a case-by-case basis, a game-by-game basis, a player-by-player basis. Some nights the Raptors may not be out there playing physical enough and looking a little wimpy, but some nights they're taking it to people and they're playing a little bit more like the Knicks style and playing very physical too. So yeah, I don't know. There's no static standard for what the Raptors are on any given night. We may get a different version of them in that particular category. Mischief saying this: I think the Raptors should go back to New Orleans and get 6'10", 232-pound stretch big Carlo Matavkovic. Since the Pelicans are in last place and we got Ingram from the Pelicans, Carlo only makes $2 million. Once again, this is a guy who's on a rookie contract, and he just came in the league, right? He's just been in the league for 2 months. 2 problems. He's valuable to them on that contract and that money. And second, he's a project. He's not proven jack shit in the NBA yet, Mischief. So I don't want to rely on him. It's just as much as Colin Castleton and Orlando Robinson last year. They were further along projects. So I don't know that Matt Kovic guy can actually play in the league correctly right now. Is he between the NBA and the G League? What is he doing? I don't even know. So I don't like his age bracket. I don't like, in some ways, they don't want to trade him because in some ways he's a value player for them right now. And that's part of it. So I don't know if this is realistic. You got to start looking at the place I'm looking, like Sharp and Goga. They're like 4-year players, 5-year players, and they're not on rookie contracts, and they're a medium scale price. So that's really the sweet spot that we're looking for. Plus, those guys are like Sandro. They've got 4 or 5 years experience in the league, and they're not projects. They can come packaged ready to help us right away. I don't know if this Matt Kovic guy, if he shows up, he might not be able to help us at all this year right away. And he's a project, and he's coming down the line. No, we want somebody who's ready this year. And this young in that right age bracket around Sandro Mamu and around Emmanuel and RJ, around that age, around 25, 26. We don't need no 22-year-olds is what I'm saying. Yeah, let's see. Wayne's saying this: Milbester, you need to go to the dunce corner for that Las Vegas comment. Typical dumbass American ignorance. All right, don't be so mean. Lex can strike me. I detest ignorance. I won't strike you, but I will say I'll admonish you for being maybe a little too mean on that. Maybe a little too mean. But Wayne, I am exactly with you, obviously, with what you just heard me say in my little political spiel just now. All right, King's here. We see Brian from To The Point. What's up, Freak Nation? Not a big fan of the Toronto CIBC jerseys. Shout out to Mo. There you go. All right, King. We'll move on. Shaq Lindsay saying you should hang on. You should have known my sources for the trade were from Raptors Digest when I said it's official. Shaq Lindsay, you're making me laugh on this Raptors Digest stuff. I mean, we're a striker. They need that guy back, right? Ben, it used to be a two-man team, and one of them outgrew it, right? One of them outgrew it. And then it's just a one-man show right now. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with them. I haven't watched Raptors Digest in probably about 5 or 6 years. And I don't know who's even doing that. And as Stargate has said, the digest channels are group of them for every team. There's like Knicks Digest, there's Celtics Digest, and Raptors Digest is just the version for us. So yeah, Shaq Lindsay, I'll give you another one, man. You're going on a late surge here. 256 for Shaq Lindsay on the dunk charts. He got 2 today. He's moving up still. He's got time. There's still time in 2025 to get up on the dunk charts before New Year's. That's right. That's right. Boom goes the dynamite. All right, let's see. Cream saying, I'm with Wayne Strainer. I don't know what Milbester said, but I know he's a Knicks fan. Yeah. He only said that he thinks that nobody went to Vegas because it's expensive. No, that's not the reason right there. That's not the only reason. Mischief saying Raptors need 2 more bigs and we're good. Oh man, maybe that's greedy. As long as we don't lose anybody, I don't get the logic and people that are saying we need to trade to get a big, and then they're including Jakob in the trade to go away. Like, what is that? We need depth at big. We're not going to trade a big to get a big. We need to keep the bigs we have and add to the bigs because we need 3 bigs at least. And Mitch is saying we need 4. I mean, I still kind of count Scotty and J-Mo as bigs. So I don't know. I think we only need 1. But I mean, I don't know how many roster spots we got. If we could have 4 centers, hey. But I don't know if they could do that. I don't know if they can do that. Milbester's saying, Kareem, Lex was saying the NBA Cup won't be hosted in Vegas next year, but Lex makes a good point because the NBA can't have a big event like NBA Cup and not draw fans revenue-wise for them. I think it's also on the flip side, Milbester, if you think about it, NBA teams and their franchises and their home arenas want that money. Like, why do they want to give the money to an arena in Vegas that's neutral that isn't even any NBA affiliated? So it's like that could be part of the push is to kill the neutral site. Is not only just that it's like there's not getting the kind of buzz and the people aren't showing up as a destination and going to the game like that. It's also people like Ed Rogers saying, I'd like to host the NBA Cup Finals in Toronto at Scotiabank Arena and make tons of money off of it. You know, it's like, wouldn't James Dolan like to have the game at MSG? So he could have made the money there last night, or San Antonio's owner in San Antonio. That's probably the biggest push to push it out of the neutral site is to make the money of a big time game in the home arena for the team that's playing. That to me is part of it that makes sense to me. I'm just windowsing this right now. Yeah, they're only doing this for luring expansion to Vegas. And Silver said they're still looking to expand. They know Vegas can get a team, but they also want regular fans to show up. Yeah, that they tested the market for to see what kind of stuff they can do in that market. It's just like us going to Montreal in the preseason. They test the market. That's just the reason why Mexico City Capitans are in the G League. They test the market and they want to see where the market is. And well, I think they found out what they need to know about the Vegas market, having this there a couple years. And they can look at the Aces, they can look at the Golden Knights, they can do a little bit of kind of like looking at those situations. The Raiders, I guess, are there now too. So yeah, they can test the sports city. And I think Adam Silver said this morning that he's going to figure out expansion next year and make announcements on NBA expansion next year. So that's what's going to happen. That's right. That's right. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Milbester's saying this. It doesn't make sense for an NBA Cup game and championship to draw less fans than a regular season game, which was already hard for average fans to attend. I won't even say anything what Wayne said. Yeah, you don't have to go in on that, the politics stuff that I just went on very explicitly. Yeah, I think you're right too with what you're saying. If there's less fans for that game last night than the lead up games like the one here in Toronto against y'all, then that's a problem. That's a problem because in some ways you want to build to the finals with a crescendo of economics, where it's like, oh, this finals game is really making money. Maybe Adam Silver saw the returns. He saw how it all went down. He's like, this isn't working. We can't do NBA game in a neutral site like this. It's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. The CBL has an interesting kind of similar kind of thing with their championship weekend. They decide where they're going to have the championship before the season even starts. And they did it in Winnipeg this year. And in some ways, the Winnipeg championship, they allowed the Winnipeg team to get in the finals, not the finals, but in the tournament to get the finals. There's a 4-team playoff. And the Sea Bears, who didn't even have the best record, got into the finals automatically as the home team. And that's a weird way to do it. And then you find that like the championship matchup in CBL is like Niagara versus Calgary, and the game's in Winnipeg. So it's kind of a weird situation there with the CBL, Canadian Elite Basketball League's formatting for their championship. It's kind of like that with a neutral site for the championship game. So it's like Sea Bears fans are coming in and watching two other CBL teams play for the championship. Will they go there and support it? It's a little weird. It doesn't necessarily work exactly right. It doesn't exactly work right. Yeah. Neil's saying this. What's the population of Vegas? Because your fan base can only be a portion of that. Oh, I'm sure Vegas has been one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, demographically. And part of it is the Disneyfication. Part of it is that they're starting to have better ways of taking the land back from the desert, and it just has room to expand out. And people come to Vegas for job opportunities, so it is a fast growing city. At least it has been. I don't know how it'll be with recessions and things coming up economically in the United States. But yeah, I'm sure that they could support an NBA team, and it would be fine. It's just that you're gonna have to find that niche audience that isn't transitory. Like a lot of the people that come to Vegas are just there to visit. What stays in Vegas happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and they're leaving. But what about the people that actually live there? And a lot of the people that actually live there are going to be like entertainment employees, people that may work at the casinos, people that work in a lot of the venues and different like entertainment resorts and different things around there. Will they have the money to go and spend to support the team? Because those are the people that will be the lifeblood of an expansion team in Vegas. It will be the employees and the people that work in Vegas, not the tourists, not the people that just come there to visit and stuff like that. No, they'll come and it'll be just like the Raptors playing in Tampa. Oh, the Celtics are playing the Las Vegas NBA team. Let's go Celtics. It'll be like that if it's going to be relied on tourist people to be attendance. You know what I'm saying? We know about this. The Raptors do, being the Tampa Raptors for a season. That's right. We know about this. That's right. Let's see. We need to park long-term projects on two-way contracts. Yeah, and that's why Shamshay was on that before. We lost him to the fitness to play panel. Well, hopefully we can get him back. Kaloy's saying, did y'all see Adam Silver shit on other broadcasters? It was most likely inside the NBA and glaze up the Amazon guys. Really? Was he saying some negative stuff towards Charles Barkley? That's very interesting. That's very, very interesting. I didn't hear it. So I don't know. Let's see. Holding a championship in Vegas away from the fan base is stupid. Yeah, I agree with that. People in New York ain't coming there. San Antonio people maybe jump in the car and get over there fast. maybe. Chloe's saying, how do we feel about the new broadcast teams against inside the NBA? I don't know. I am not listening to them. I don't know. I'm not listening to them. We haven't been on those networks, right? So I haven't heard them. I don't watch the general NBA, so I'm not hearing Vince Carter and all them on Peacock or listening to Steve Nash and Dirk Nowitzki and them on Amazon. I'm not paying attention to their broadcast, so I can't say. I really do have tunnel vision for Raptors, and the Raptors aren't appearing on those channels. I have no idea what they're like. So, I'll just say go inside the NBA, Charles Barkley forever is what I'll say right there. Neil's saying this should have held the NBA Cup in New York since it was between New York and San Antonio. Maybe. I mean, how do you determine which team gets the home court advantage? Do you do it by their record in the NBA at that point? How do you determine this? In some ways, the logistics of setting it all up and having it all set up needs to be premeditated a couple months before. Like even doing these games that they threw together, like this game we just played against Miami, that takes a lot of legwork really fast to get done in like a matter of 2 weeks. And, to make the games big and epic to kind of do it, they're kind of in a bad place to figure out the neutral site versus the home. And how do you do that? Because that's a huge home court advantage. If you're in the cup final and it's a one and done, that's a huge home court advantage. And how do you do this? Maybe the neutral site still works for the championship game, but all the rounds up to it should be at NBA arenas. Maybe. Because like the championship game maybe should be neutral. I don't know, but I don't think they will do it neutral anymore. It's very interesting. Cream saying this: they should just hold the cup where they do the All Star game. I don't know. That's an interesting one. I don't know. They're going to do this showcase cup for the G League in Orlando. Does that give an advantage to the Osceola Magic? I don't know. Probably not. Probably not. Make the NBA Cup finals a best out of 3. Well, that's just going to make it drag out. And wait a second, Neil. You're talking about we need to get rid of preseason because there's too many games, and now you're saying we need to add games to the NBA Cup? Whoa, 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 whoa! Push pull. You're like a different songbird on different days. Is what I'm hearing there. Vegas sucks. I went to Vegas once. It's an interesting place. Mischief saying this: Carlo Matakovic got chemistry with Ingram, and he's turning 25 next month. His numbers are better per minute than Sharp and that other guy. We don't have to give up much. Has he been in the league for a while? I thought he was like the dude that you told me to look at in the draft last year. Like he's not been in the league until this year, right? Has he been doing anything in the league already? I don't know. He's on the Pelicans. In some ways, I don't trust that. I don't know. I don't know. In some ways, I'm not about getting a rookie. In some ways, I don't want a rookie. I want a guy who's already kind of ahead in certain ways. Milbester's saying, I just thought of an idea that could work. The conference that wins the NBA Finals hosts the NBA Cup championship the following year. MLB used to do All-Star game deciding home field in the World Series. You know what? That's not a bad idea. So basically, the San Antonio would have had the cup advantage against the Knicks because the Thunder won the championship last year, is what Milbester's saying. That's an interesting idea to do that. Although, do people really need more motivation to win the NBA championship? I think that maybe we could figure this out. Maybe you put it on the All-Star game, not the finals. Once again, you add another thing to the All-Star game to make it more. You go back to East versus West, get out all these stupid crap between multiple teams in a little mini tournament. East versus West, do it like baseball used to. The All-Star team that wins, that gets the home court advantage in the cup, not in the finals, not in the 7-game series. The NBA finals are not touched by the All-Star game, but the All-Star game will give the advantage to the team that gets the NBA Cup next year in the in-season tournament. So, if the East won the All-Star game earlier this year, the Knicks would have hosted at MSG. If the West had won the All-Star game this year, the Spurs would host the NBA Cup final at their arena. In some ways, that's an interesting way to put it, and it doesn't even affect the Larry O'Brien in the finals. That's an interesting innovation right there. Milbester, you're going to get a dunk for a great idea. 117. And there are some ideas from Major League Baseball that are worth trying in the NBA. Seriously. And I think that's one of them. I've thought this for a few years now. I think that that's a good idea that we could use in the NBA, what MLB used to do. Kareem saying, I like that Blackhawk and make them go back to back to back to back. Yeah, adding more games to the NBA Cup season is not going to happen. One and done. And that's the way the nature of it is. They're not going to do a best 2 out of 3. I'm sorry. They won't do that. Milbester's saying, Carlo, as far as broadcasts go, NBC, I like Noah more than his dad. He covers the games way better. And I heard Noah call college football. I was shocked how better he is at calling games than his dad, Ian. He's talking about the Eagles. You got Noah Eagle and Ian Eagle. And I've heard Noah Eagle before. He's not bad. He's not bad. He's not bad. His dad's good too. His dad was more of a football call, right? He's not done as much NBA. He's more a football announcer. But yeah, the Eagles are a good broadcasting family. Not as good as the Johnsons, though. I'll say that. Or the what's another one? Carries. The Carries. That's a great broadcasting company too. Broadcasting family too. Chip Carey, Skip Carey, and the great Harry Carey. Harry Carey of the Chicago Cubs. Yeah, he's a legend. And his son is Skip Carey, who used to do Atlanta Hawks and Braves games out of Atlanta. And then his son is Chip Carey, who was one of the original voices of the Orlando Magic in the very beginning. Him and Goose Givens used to do the Orlando Magic broadcast. Chip Carey is the grandson of Harry Carey of the Chicago Cubs. And of course, we know Harry Carey is a very, very prominent, important announcer in sports history. Very, very much. That's right. Milbester's saying, but I would have wanted Kevin Harlan to NBC because he was there covering NBA games in the 90s. I don't know why NBC didn't get him back. I don't know if Kevin Harlan, like he's old, man. He's up there. and he may be more retired than actually involved in sports at this point. Yeah, I think that may be why right there, because he's up there, man. He's not a young guy anymore. Let's just put it that way. Mr. Quasimodo is saying this. You think the better team won the NBA Cup with the Knicks? Yeah, yeah, I think so. As of last night, I mean, on any given night, it could have been the Spurs or a better team on a certain night. No, I won't degrade the Knicks' accomplishment last night, especially since OG's so central to it. And the Spurs may have dropped the ball. They had a chance. They were in it in the last 5 minutes. And well, the Knicks just executed better at the end of the game. And that's part of their veteranness and what they've been doing this year, and especially in the two games against us. They're showing a real poise, and they are showing that they're real championship caliber. And I can't hate on that. I have to be honest about it. As much as I wanted the Knicks to be more of a dumpster fire, they're actually doing really well right now. And they deserved that win last night. They were the better team. Milbester's saying, but so far as they're doing a great job with the intros and Mello, Vince and Tracy fit well. But so far, NBC is doing a great job bringing NBA nostalgia back like it was the 90s. I did notice, I watched a little bit of a Peacock game at the hotel when I was staying there in the last couple weeks. I noticed that they overused the John Tesh music, like the and I knew they were going to use it. Obviously, they should, but I hear them like playing it over the whole show. Like it just keeps running, and they're like talking, and they're doing this. Like, okay, why are you playing that basketball rock, whatever song it's called by John Tesh, like for like 10 minutes during the whole segment? It's supposed to be just the intro song, and then cut it off. You're going to overdo it. You're going to make us sick of it if you're going to keep it running in the background on the down low while people are trying to do their commentary. So yeah, caution Peacock/NBC to maybe not overuse the round bowel rock, like to the extent where you're using it as bed music for your whole entire broadcast. That's not a good idea. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. No, keep it for what it is, and that's the intro song for the show. That's it. Yeah, Neil's saying, I'm saying change those preseason games, regular season games, and get rid of back-to-backs. I know. And you're also saying add two more in-season tournament games when we're talking about we're trying to get games down. Do you not understand how you're conflicting in your opinions from the last week? This is just what I'm saying here. Mischief saying Carlo is not a rookie, 3 years in the league. Okay, so he's 3 years in? Why am I getting him confused with some other guys that had Vic at their end of their name that were coming in the draft this year that you were very big on earlier this year, Jay? I think that's what it is. I think that his name is similar to like two brothers that came in this draft, and that's where I'm getting confused and why I think that he's a rookie. There's a lot of Vics in this league and kicks and Vics, Joe Kicks and Jovics and stuff like that. And I'm not totally familiar with him, and it may be because he's on the Pelicans and he's a third-year player. He's not one of the two brothers that came from they came from Turkey or something this year. You know who I'm talking about. I think that's where I got confused right there. Kaloy saying this Spurs team is really stacked. They've got a lot of young talent. And that team, man, they have 2 rookies a year in a row. And honestly, if Dylan Harper does things right, he could be a hat trick. It's going to be tough with Cooper Flagg and the Knipple kid. But we could see a 3 years in a row rookie of the year out of San Antonio because Dylan Harper's like that too. Maybe Castle, Wemby, Harper. I don't know. They're a very good team. You're right. You're right. Watch Mischief be correct and get that guy. We'll probably get under the radar center. If we get that guy and Mischief signs off of him, I just have to educate myself on him. I really do think he's one of those two brothers that he was pushing on me earlier this year from the draft. And that's why I'm confused right now. Milbester's saying, only reason why I mentioned the All-Star game idea is because MLB's CBA took out the ASG league winner hosting a World Series because it was too intense. NBA Cup doesn't have to host in Vegas. I think it's a great idea, Milbuster. And if Adam Silver decided to allow the All-Star game to determine the results of the All-Star game to determine the host team for the NBA Cup final, I think that might be a smart idea. It's not as big as the home court final for the Larry O'Brien, which is good. Kaloy saying Raptors fans need to understand this. The Raptors rebuild is being done creatively, not like the Spurs getting multiple top 5 picks. Yeah, we're definitely not like the Thunder or the Spurs in that. And you know what? We're right on track. We've got great young players. We've got quality guys, and we don't make many mistakes with what we're doing with acquiring people. So, yeah, let me get into my tabs because I am at almost 3 hours. This is a lot longer than I thought I would do on the show. I do have somebody coming here at 1 o'clock, and I got to be done by then. So let's get this done. Let's go on through Raptors Reddit reactions. Dare I? They've got a picture of Domantas Sabonis in a Raptors jersey right here. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. They're celebrating OG on here about that. Oh, they announced that the Raptors Social City is going to be in the beginning of February. This is an event that Superfan Mo went to last year that is high class, man. It's $500 is the cheapest ticket, but it's the thing where they went last year and they drew the pictures of the Raptor and they had the drawing contest that Brandon won last season. Remember that? Well, they're going to do the next one the first week of February. And they also have some new fan access program that the MLSE has rolled out, and they've made a mirror image, same program for the Leafs, same exact like stuff. You pay $150, you get like 4 G League tickets for the 905. You pay $150 to Leafs, you get 4 Marlies tickets. It's an interesting program, and they have a really big package where you get like you pay like 1,500 and you get 2 jerseys, and you get 100 level seats near the court for a Raptors game. So check out the fan access packages, Raptors fans, if you're interested in them. And then also the fan social city Raptors social city event has been scheduled, and it's going to be at ROM this year, which is really interesting. They're going to host the Raptors social city event that was so awesome last year. It's a black tie event. It's dressed the nines. Monique got to go last year and she loved it. She's probably going to go again this year. And it's going to be at the museum, which is very interesting that they're going to put it at ROM this year. So yeah, a little bit of notes there. Let's see. No birthday today. Let's do the classic card. Let's get out. Let's get done and out of here. Let's get done and out of here. Out of here. Get this out of here. That's right. I'm done with Raptors Reddit already complaining about their tempo jerseys and color schemes. Yeah, that's what they do. They live to complain. That's for sure. All right. Speaking of the game last night, here we go, guys. Classic card of the day. Not so classic, but kind of classic, I guess. Well, there's a lot of shine on this one. Can you see who that is? Can I see what you write in? That's another question. Full name answer, please, on the classic card. Harrison Barnes is right. Kaloy, good job. It wasn't a very good angle for him, but you figured it out probably because of what I said last night. Him being a prominent Spur in the game in the NBA Cup final last night. But yeah, Harrison Barnes is the classic card of the day, and Carlo JS is going to get it. And it's 100 points. That's right. Harrison Barnes, Kaloy, and it's 100 points for today. Good job getting that classic card. Nice and speedy, too. You got it right away. Neil's saying this. I don't care about get games down unless it's back-to-back. I find back-to-backs useless. It will never happen in championship runs. Doesn't matter to me if we have 82 or 85 games. Just no back-to-backs. Scotty would probably endorse your idea because he doesn't want a whole long offseason, but most of the players would not like it. And it's part of the sticking point in the WNBA collective bargaining disagreements right now, is that the owners want to increase the schedule and more time where these women have to play, and they don't want to pay them anymore. They want to actually start the WNBA preseason in mid-March and start even earlier than they already do. And this is one of the fights in the labor with leagues like the NBA and the WNBA is how many games do we have to play? When do we have to come to work? How long do we get off season? And NBA players, I don't know if they would, if you polled them, would they rather have no back-to-backs, but they have to be in the season longer part of the year with a shortened off season? That's the question right there, Neil. And that in some ways that's determined by Fred VanVleet, the Players Association president, representing the players and finding out what they want and trying to get that when talking to them. So I think most of the players don't want more games. They'd like to see less games. And I don't think a lot of the players would want to lose time in the summer just to increase the season out away from back-to-backs. Which one would be worse to them? You'd have to ask the players, do you hate back-to-backs or do you like having a longer offseason? And they may be like, it's fine the way it is. We don't mind back-to-backs. I want to have my summer to be with my family. That's the push-pull of it right there. And it's definitely at the forefront of the labor disagreement in the WNBA right now, too. It is one of the sticking points that they're talking about. Milbester's saying, hopefully the Thunder don't get back to back with Dodgers going for a three-peat. MLB has it good with the new rule changes and bad with a competitive balance. Laugh out loud. Yeah, you guys shorten the game. You've done a couple of things good and innovative wise, but honestly, until you guys have a salary cap of some sort, it's always going to be this bullshit. And in some ways, it's part of what turns me off from Major League Baseball. Honestly, I would watch it more if the rules were a little bit more reined in as far as paying to win. And the Dodgers have definitely paid to win the last 2 seasons. And if they win again next year, well, that's bad for Major League Baseball. I'm going to say that right now because that it's not exciting to see the same team just win every year. Let's just put it that way. And this is part of the reason why Adam Silver changed the rules for the NBA and made it more of a league of parity because we got the same finals for like 4 years in a row. Cavs versus Warriors, Cavs versus Warriors, Cavs versus Warriors. And it wasn't helping the league. It was very bad for the league. In fact, some people said, no, it was good for the league. Yeah, if you're a Warriors fan, you thought it was good for the league. But honestly, it was very bad for the league. And that's why Adam Silver took the steps to change the league to what it is today in the NBA. And that is an area definitely the NBA is doing better than MLB is parity. And, any team has a chance. In the MLB, you got to pay to win. And if you don't pay to win, you're not going to have a chance to compete. So how many teams in the MLB actually are worth watching? Because there's no realistic chance they'll win. That's the big problem right there, Milbester. And that's the secret of success for the NFL and for the NBA. Parity is going to get people to pay and buy tickets for teams because they feel like they have a chance to win. And the Major League Baseball, it's not like that. And that's part of the problem. Thank you for the cutoff, Mischief. All right, I'll do my rundown. Guys, they released the Toronto Tempo jerseys, and it's a mixed reviews. I'm on the side of saying these are fantastic jerseys. I'm excited. They're basic. In some ways, that's all you need to start, and they're going to be iconic in years to come. And I love the difference in the two. And I hope that I get. Who knows? Maybe I'll get a Toronto Tempo jersey at some point, very very soon. Who knows? But yeah, it's a milestone. And congratulations to Risa Resh and the rest of the Toronto Tempo team on this milestone that they got to yesterday, releasing the jersey finally. So we know what our players are going to be wearing at Coca-Cola Coliseum next year in the WNBA. I love it. I love it. I love it. And so hopefully, I hope y'all love it too. All right, tomorrow, preview Toronto Raptors, Milwaukee Bucks. I'll have the ref report. I'll have the latest lineup news. I'll have the classic card, and I'll have the keys to the victory, the win, to the peace, the path to get the advice, the win, to the keys to the path to the victory. Yeah, we'll do all that stuff right there. That's right. Neil's saying, I don't consider October and November as a part of the summer. Yeah, but these guys, that's their off season, and they call it just in general the summer because usually the off season just goes over it. I understand you're being nitpicky, but you just call it the off season. We don't have to call it the summer. How about that? All right, y'all. Have a great day. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's go Tempo. That's right. Let's go Tempo. Thanks for filling out the poll. Its final results, 62% of y'all like the new Toronto Tempo jerseys. And that's awesome. I love that. All right, y'all. Have a great day. I'll see y'all tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'll be a little early to get to the lane faster, and hopefully we can beat the Milwaukee Bucks and get a 2-game winning streak. I'll talk about all of it tomorrow with your refs and everything. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's go Tempo. Let's go Tempo. Let's go Tempo. Let's go.